Hello, everybody out there in podcast land. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the show. This episode is brought to you by G2 Paintball. G2 Paintball is a paintball athletics company designed to make you a better paintball athlete. If you guys haven't heard about G2, you need to go over to g2paintball.com right now and figure out how you can become better at your craft. The Dynasty guys, all of us, we went out to Arizona and did an intense 3-day G2 training before World Cup, and we think that it really paid dividends and helped us go the extra distance. When we were running deep into the tournament, we were well prepared. G2 Paintball is unlike any other paintball company because they are geared around making you a better paintball athlete. So often I see players training in ways that are not going to help them be more functional and agile on the paintball field. In paintball, you have very specific movements that are hard to train for. G2 Paintball has done a great job of customizing a training program to make it so that you can maximize your abilities on the paintball field. G2 Paintball has also recently partnered up with the Paintball Combine. We're going to be out there in Arizona. Ryan Greenspan, myself, Tyler Harmon, Rusty Glaze, many, many more out there at the Paintball Combine in Arizona. If you guys are in the area, this is your chance to come to the Combine, showcase what you got. You know, everyone says they want to go pro. Well, here's your chance to get seen by all of the pro players and to put your skills to the test and be actually recorded on the national and global level. Do not miss this opportunity. You guys can head over to g2paintball.com to learn more about G2. Head over to paintballcombine.com. Learn more about the Paintball Combine. If you guys are in the area, do not miss this event. This episode is brought to you by Transfuse. Transfuse is the only all-natural electrolyte drink that you guys need to have in your cabinets. We love this stuff. We've been using this for an entire season now. This stuff is amazing. I feel great when I drink Transfuse. I drink it every single day. I don't go a day without putting a packet of Transfuse in my water. It's very easy, very portable, easy to travel with, and delicious to drink, which means that you're going to love drinking it and you're going to drink more of it, which is going to be incredibly beneficial to your health. Has magnesium, potassium, sodium, which are all amazing for proper hydration. It has zinc, vitamin C, vitamin B, and choline. These things are incredible cognitive enhancers and immune boosting formulas that you don't want to miss out on, especially in times like this. I'm telling you, I drink Transfuse every single day. I love it. Tyler does as well. Anybody who has tried it has been just pouring with great feedback back to us. There's a reason that they're at all the NXL events, and a lot of the top teams and top professionals are using this product. Do not walk around dehydrated. I never realized how dehydrated I was, even when I was drinking all sorts of water. It's not enough. You need the proper nutrition. You need the right ingredients. Transfuse has done a great job of curating the perfect formula. Transfuse is absolutely spectacular, and for all of our listeners, there is a special deal for any Play the Game listener. If you head over to translabs.com, that's tranzlabs.com, and use code PLAYTHEGAME at checkout, you will get 10% off. If you subscribe, which means they auto ship you your package every single month, whatever you want, whatever type, whatever flavor, whatever electrolyte formula you desire, they will give you an additional 11% off. So it becomes a 21% discount exclusively for all Play the Game listeners. Huge, huge shout out. And we are incredibly thankful for our supporters. And if you guys would like to go support them, it's translabs.com. Use code PLAYTHEGAME. We are brought to you by Heal Brand. Heal Brand is the best CBD company that we have ever come across. I've been taking CBD products for years now, and I absolutely love it. But Heal Brand has taken my CBD consumption level to the next tier. This stuff is really the luxurious, high-quality, best brand that you're going to come across. Their whole claim to fame is the nanotechnology. It's the real deal. The claim is that through their nanotechnology, the CBD can actually break through the cellular wall and get into the bloodstream much faster and more efficiently. So you need less to do more. Often CBD products, you'll need to take it for a couple weeks before you really start noticing all of the benefits. With this stuff, as soon as you take it, you notice it right away. Within 15, 20 minutes, you're feeling the benefits of CBD. CBD is great for inflammation, anxiety, sleeping, all sorts of different stuff. CBD is really exploding on the scene because it has such a wide variety of benefits. I personally love to use CBD before I go to bed so I can get a full, well-rested night of sleep. Sleep is so crucial. It's so important. If you want to recover well, if you want to fight off depression and anxiety and those unwanted emotions, proper sleep is where you need to start. CBD products really help me do that. And Heal brand CBD has a wide variety of options of different products, different formulas. It is all natural. It's amazing. This stuff is fantastic. You guys can head over to healbrand.com, check them out. And there is an exclusive offer to all of our PTG listeners. If you use code PLAYTHEGAME at checkout, you'll get 10% off. All right, everybody, we're going to hop into this episode. We had a very special guest on. We've just been knocking out the bangers with the old school paintball players, legends of the game. We're so thankful for them taking time out of their days to come on and share just some awesome stories with us. In this episode, we have none other than Mike Paxson. Had a legendary career. You guys know the man, the myth, the legend. Without further ado, we'll see you in there.
That was an insane inside move by Marcelo Margot. Great communication. And the crowd starts chanting Harmon. Great shot by all the guys. So Tyler Harmon saved that game. He came out with 2 wins. Marcelo Margot was on fire.
All right, Play the Game Nation. We got him. Mike Paxson on the show, one of the best back players to ever play in the game, one of the jolliest people you'll ever meet in paintball. Shout out to the holiday season. We're honored to have you on the show, dude. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. What's going on, dude?
Yeah, Pax.
Oh, nothing, man. Thank you guys for having me. This is awesome.
Yeah. Oh, the honor's all ours, man. Where are you tapping in from? Let us all know where you're at and how's it been out there? You doing all right?
Oh, it's great. I'm up here hunting in Montana, having a great time.
There we go.
I know we were just talking. I found out that you guys won at 9,000 feet up on a mountain. I was like, dude, that's sweet, cool.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, we get lucky here and there. We were able to squeak that one out at World Cup and get that win. And you were up. What kind of hunting were you doing up there? Where were you at?
I was just up on one of the local little peaks here at 9,000, like looking for elk. And then Johnny Perchek actually texted me. He's like, "Oh, the boys did it." I was like, "Oh, that's cool, man."
Hey, shout out to Johnny. Dude, he's the best.
Oh, he's awesome.
Yeah. Absolutely. I was actually, sorry, I was with Johnny at the Capital Edge Paintball anniversary that they had out there recently. We had like Ryan, Johnny, and a bunch of people out there playing some ball. So it was good to see him as well.
Oh, yeah, he's fun.
Yeah, Johnny's the man. He obviously spent some time with us on the Ironmen. That was a fun season. And he still comes out to all the dynasty practices. We actually need to get him on here too. He's hilarious. Talk about a storyteller. Yeah. That's fantastic. Man, so Pax, you do elk hunting. Have you got any? Do you eat elk often? Oh man, dude.
Yeah, no, it's good for you, man.
Yeah.
I didn't get one this year, and then but the last like 3 years in a row I've had them, so we've been good.
Oh, dude. I gotta come up with you sometime. I need to practice do some other kind of hunting first, but that'd be awesome to go get some elk. Here, that's really hard.
Oh yeah, no, it's not too bad. I mean, like you get a cow tag. It's pretty easy. Yeah. I've been trying to shoot one with my bow. I haven't shot a bull with my bow yet. I've shot cows and different stuff, but I haven't got one with my bow.
Dude, that's like Bob Long style right there with the bow.
Dude, he's on a whole nother level, dude. I remember going to his shop and we were joking about, like, he'd be like, "Oh, you see that sign?" And we're like, "Yeah." And I'm like, you can barely see it. And he's like, "You think I could hit that with an arrow?" And I'm like, "Yeah, no way." And he's like, "Oh, $5." And we put $5 in a pot. And then you look with the binoculars, there's already like 5 arrows in the sign. No. And you're like, "Oh shit."
Damn, dude.
He would just stick them up there all the time.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, who wants to lose your money? Step right up.
Right. Yeah, get up and step up to the side.
Dude, that's crazy. Wasn't he like a world champion bow hunter, something like that?
He used to design his own bows. Like he designed and custom made bows.
That's
what
crazy.
Before he got into paintball, basically. But I mean, he hunted all around the world and did everything.
One of the best. He was one of the best bow hunters in the world, Bob Long, and also world champion paintball player. It was crazy. When I grew up, he had this huge shop, room of death, and he would make all the teams that would come guest up at our field sleep in it. So they were all just sleeping in this room of death, like, oh my God, we got to play the Oakland Assassins tomorrow.
I slept like a baby in there, no problem.
That's right. Yeah, it was some of my best memories ever is playing all you guys up at Bob's house. Yeah. Man, just timeless memories with tons of teams. We would have Dynasty, Ironmen, obviously Cap, Avalanche, that whole kind of group, and just some crazy games out there.
Oh, it was so much fun.
Yeah.
That was a nostalgic time.
The fields.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh God. That was like when we used to talk about Mare Island, and everyone used to be like, "What do you mean?" And you're like, "Yeah, it was a little different."
Yeah, tell us some stories about Mare Island, because we've obviously had quite a few of the Dynasty guys on the show that came up through there.
Oh man, and I mean, I remember like Shane and those guys, and they would just be telling you like, "Well, you just get in there, and then you just keep working until you find someone and stab them." And you're like, "What? No, wait."
Because it's
in the anise.
Yeah, in the anise, right?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Dude, I mean, there'd be people right next to you would never even know. And then also, like, I remember the first one that they told us was you'd shoot in there and you'd like, check him, ref. And then the ref would run into somewhere like, oh shit, he's over there. There he is.
Hell yeah. Dude.
That's a good trick right there, actually. That's an old school. If you're not sure if someone's in the snake, just yell to the ref, "Hey, ref, check that. Check that guy." Right. Yeah. He goes in there.
Oh, there he is. He's right on the other side. Shit.
Dude,
like
genius.
That. Old school moves. It's like they're throwing a pod at someone's bunker. Back in the day.
Dude, it's all about the mind games in paintball, especially, we talk about Jedi mind tricking people all the time on the paintball field. That's how you really get it done. I feel like you're actually one of the best at that too, Mike. You know how to play cards well. You know what I'm saying? You've got the poker face. So it's a really interesting thing, because paintball players like to really just dissect paintball down to the nittiest grittiest like details of gunfighting, but it's really outsmarting. I mean, once you get to a certain level and you're good with all the fundamentals, it's about who's outsmarting who, pretty much.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I remember Billy Wing used to have the best. We used to call, the bait and switch, where you'd let a guy rap on you, and you're like, he's rapping, like you're like, now Billy, and Billy just come out and shoot the guy, and you're like, oh man,
easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
For
sure. Billy was a legend in all of the behind the scenes stuff with the Ironmen. I don't think he got enough credit. He did from people on the team, obviously, but from people that weren't in the inner circle, he didn't get enough credit for how much he brought to that organization year after year. I mean, for a long time.
Yeah. You remember how him and Oliver used to fight all the time?
Yeah.
And they would draw all over the paper, and then I would have to crumble the paper up, throw it away, and then I'd be like, Shane, tell us what we're doing. Don't listen to either two of these assholes.
That's funny. We were just talking to Shane about that, about how Billy and Oliver would just go at it. But honestly, like Shane brought up a good point. Sometimes you need that, because they were both right in their own way, and so it helped us get to a better understanding, a better game plan, because we kind of hashed out all the possible negatives.
Right. Yeah. And also too, just, having so many different looks from so many different good people, you're like, well, shit, we didn't care. We were just like, tell us where we're going and doing. I don't really care. I mean, everybody goes over there. That's fine. You're right here just shooting. Marcel, you still alive? All right, cool.
Could always count on me and you, baby. There at the end. Pax, I got you, baby. 33 and 55.
Shout out to 33, 55. Let's go.
Dude, remember when it was me and you versus Oliver, Nikki, I think it was Short and one other. It was like a 4-on-2. And we beat him. And remember, Oliver lost his bicycle and gear off the line. Because Marcelo would shoot, like, I'm just watching over Marcelo. There's no one going his way. I'm just watching, like, I got you, but everyone's trying to run me.
Yeah.
And then I remember Oliver, like, tried to run me from the inside, but got blown up. And then he turned and was starting to yell at Marcelo. And I'm like, shot him in the head. He's like, ran off and tore all his gear off and left.
Hold on, because that is so funny, because Shane brought that up on the last episode. For all the listeners, if you guys have not listened to the Shane Pastana episode, after this one, go and listen to that. It is so funny. But Shane brought exactly that up about you, how you were so good your entire career with getting into people's heads from overshooting them.
That's what I was just saying that.
Dude, Mike was always the enforcer. And players were so dumb. They didn't realize that if they didn't give you a reaction, you would probably move on to the next player. Exactly. But if you give a reaction, you're getting it the whole game. Like the whole match.
Dude, there used to be some people, the one that hated it the most, and it was the funny, because I remember this from Aftershock days, was Fedorov. It would take him out of his game. I remember the one time, because he was so good when he first came in.
Yeah.
And, because we're like, oh my God, this Russian kid, no one knows who he is. He just comes all the way down to our side of the snake. And we were tied at halftime in LA when they first came in.
Yeah.
And I'm like, look, I'm going to run into this can. And if I can't shoot him there, I'm just going to run right to this 50 sig because he's going to be there. And I'm just going to empty my loader into his head. And they were like, you know, and then like, I remember it was like, okay, yeah, let's do that. Like that was the whole game plan. So kid runs in there. I thought I shot him. I'm like, oh shit. And also I'm like, I run up to the 50 sig. He's already like on our side of it. And I'm like, oh shit. Well, as I jump over, I just literally put my gun on top of his head. And then no one shot me. And I was like, oh fuck. And I dive in and I'm like, get the fuck out of the snake. And I remember I'm like, don't ever come to our side. And he's like, holding his head. And I'm like, you come to our side, I'm going to blow your fucking goggles off your face. And literally every time he would go to snake one and stop, never come to our side.
Real quick, this was 15 balls a second, or this was before that when it was uncapped.
I mean, like your loader would empty like when I jumped over the snake, my loader unemptied is on his head.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right.
Kids these days just don't understand what we grew up
Tyler
playing.
Remembers
Of course.
Oh, baby.
I remember my favorite story.
Oh, yeah.
Tyler.
He got me good, dude. I was just a little baby. I had the flag. I was like, I got this, guys.
He was 8.5 years old. he was like 8 years old. Looked like my little daughter running through the center with the flag like this. Just, oh my gosh, I'm about to win World Cup.
And Mike would always be like, you were like, I got the golden ticket. I got the golden ticket. I was going, dude, yeah.
The worst was, it was going chaos. You couldn't hear anything. And I remember just seeing this shadow coming up. I'm like, oh shit, is that a ref? And I remember popping over the top and his goggles were like a foot away. And I'm like, oh. And he just literally fell on the ground and died. And I was like, oh, I think that kid's dead. He's over.
But it was crazy back then. Like the game was like, no joke. Hey, it was insane. It was insane.
How funny is it though? We had uncapped guns, unlimited thing, and you'd only carry 5 pops. And now, and I'm like, dude, we were shooting 22 balls a second, like, rah, you know, and you're like, and then you'd shoot a loader and you'd run and you, and then game's over. You're like, shit, oh, man, I only shot 2 pods, but you know, we played 25 points. And you're only carrying, like, how does that? I was like, how does this work out? I don't understand.
That we've just got. We've gotten a lot better. We've just gotten Well,
and also I think that they've been playing with, it's all been a big experiment too. They're trying to see what product is the best as well. And I also, dude, obviously playing at that time, having the big scores with the ripping guns, it was just insanity out there. But now it's matured into like this, I don't know, they've been, like I said, experimenting for so long with this thing that they've found with the new field style and the way that the guns and the paint and everything, you know, it's pretty exciting. It's just crazy what we came from with that stuff, dude, because
there was also, I feel like the fields were so open that it was just easy to shoot people quicker, you know, like
remember every game went to 3-on-3, like
exactly,
alive.
That's true.
Now 100%, you know, so those go a little quicker. You need a little less pain, I guess, but the guns were so fast. You're right, I don't get that. They were so like you shoot a loader like in 3 seconds.
I remember running and shooting 3 people, just going. And you're like, oh my god, all 3 of those guys died. Like, you're diving in.
And that's why, like, you had to be really tough if you weren't on a great team. Like, if you were losing back then, oh my god, it really sucked because it's 2 25-minute halves. So you got Mike Paxson on the other end, just pumping your brains.
Forget that. But also, it's like on Aftershock, I was like one of the last one alive all the time. I remember one time I'm sitting in the shower, and it was just funny because I'm sitting in the shower, like my head hanging down. All this paint is just pouring off my fucking scalp. And B looks in, she goes, oh my God, what happened to you? And I'm like, yeah, it was a bad game. Like, she goes, dude, I literally was covered from head to toe in paintball wells. Like black and blue all on the side. And like, she's like, oh, jeez.
When you got shot, it wasn't 7 paintballs. It was 20 to 30. It was like
that was getting overshot was 20 to 30. Now 5 is overshooting, you know?
Oh, I see people stand up, they get shot twice and they're like, oh my that?
Yeah.
Oh, what a
Totally.
world.
I like it, dude. I like
yeah.
that. Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
I do
I'm not saying that I want to get overshot every time, but man, shoot me up. And honestly, I'm going to do it to you too, because there's also a tactical advantage of doing it. When I shoot your pack a couple extra times, a little more work in the pits for you. You know what I mean? A little,
or you
little
go out
extra.
with one more hit.
Yeah, you know, and it also sets a little tone for the game too when you do stuff. And I love you for that, Pax, because bro, you bring that ultra fire out there on the field, and you know, it pumps your team up too when they see a super passionate player that wants to get everybody lit up and wants to go to war with the, you know, and win the tournament, you know, and get it done.
Yeah. Well, you know, and I always say it's like, you know, it's like once you're inside the arena or, you know, the nets, it's like, dude, I don't like you. I'm not your friend. Like, you know, we're out here, you're trying to kill me, I'm trying to kill you. It's like, I don't care. I go, once we step outside the nets, we can be friends again. But right now, no, I don't like you.
100%.
You know, well, it's funny. We went and played that 10-man in North Carolina. I like, you know, it's so funny. Like, you know, it's like, don't care. Not really. We're just having a good time, drinking in between points. I come around the corner and like, there's a guy sitting there, like, back to me. I'm like, whack. I shoot him one time, right dead shoulder blades. He's like, and he's coming to spin. I'm like, and literally just falls down to their whole team. I'm like, are you serious? You didn't watch what just happened. Like, he deserves everything he just got. Like, you help, just pick your friend's skull up and we'll call it a day. We'll see you for the next point.
Jeez, see you for the next point.
10 man is a rowdy game out there in the woods. It's crazy.
I know. Yeah, that was funny. They were telling me about when you guys were playing 5-man in Chicago. They're like, we picked up some kid, you know, Tyler. And I'm like, you mean like tall, like Tyler? They're like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, all right, great. Yeah, he was good. He ran around all the time. I was like, yeah, cool.
Dude, that the new age paintball is going back full circle to how it all started. It's all coming back to the grassroots. And the dudes that started it all are back in the game, which is amazing. We have
and they're superstars. Like, I mean, look at Glenn Forster. He's like one of the #1 pickups. He's horrible and it's great. But he's great out there. Like, I watched him crawl through the center of the field. I'm like, look, I go, that's Glenn. And no one's like, no way, that's not Glenn. Look, you know, I'm like, dude, that is Glenn. You can tell his goofy ass right there, you know? And then, like, all of a sudden, he pops up on their side, shoots 4 dudes, looks like a hero, you know? And I'm like, dude, he's 7 years old doing it.
Glenn's been crushing it. We're actually, I think we're putting a team together for a tournament at some point, God willing, with everything that's going on, you know, to get out to one of these events. But we're definitely
going to do the ICC maybe again, or?
I think so.
For sure.
Yeah, that should be a good one.
As soon as it got announced, Rodney hit up the Dynasty 10-man chat and was like, everybody get ready, book your tickets, you know? So
that's good.
It's nice to have that one. Yeah, 100%. I haven't been out to one yet. It's been the timing has been terrible. The first 2 years that the ICC happened, I got hurt, right? And then last year got canceled. You know, rest in peace to Timmy. And you know, I'm really glad that we're going to be able to go next year this coming year. It's about to be New Year's for all the listeners in a couple days.
Yeah. Happy New Year. Let's go.
But I definitely want to get out to some of the 10-man events because I think the NXL is doing a great job with the ICPL. It's just cool that we can offer that because paintball is so cool in so many different ways. And we tried for like 10 years at least to narrow it down to this one version, you know, and that was wrong. It wasn't a wise move to put ourselves into this little box when paintball is fun in so many different ways, right? I mean, most of us started in the woods. And, you know, as a matter of fact, Pax, that's a great little segue, dude. How was your first encounter with paintball? What was your first experience like?
So I talked my cousin, the first time my mom actually dropped me down off at SC, and I had a pump gun that I bought. I can't remember. I talked my grandpa into going down and buying my gun, paintball gun. So we go down and get this gun, and I'm walking around, and I'm like, all right, you know, you have no clue what's going on. The whistle blows, and I'm on. We were on Iraq actually. It's funny, I didn't know it. And I go all the way around through the woods, and I come up, and I'm like, oh, dude, I like surrender, and this guy's right there, you know. And the guy's like, oh, okay, cool. I go up to the next guy, I'm like, surrender, and the guy's like, okay, and I'm like, dude, this is so easy. Like, dude, it was making this out to like a hard game. So I go up behind the third dude, like surrender. And the dude looks at me and just goes, whap, 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 and shoots me 3 times in my face.
See,
and I'm like, oh my,
this is why in the woods you didn't let him spin on you the next time. You see,
no one ever got surrendered ever again in my whole career. And I was like, blew my lips apart as a kid. And then I was like, yep, don't ask these people to surrender, obviously.
Yeah.
How old were you, Mike? How old were you?
I think I was like 13, 14 at that time.
No way, dude.
Yeah.
How long? You've been playing paintball for
55 years.
Yeah. I just turned 40.
Yeah. So you've been playing for about 30.
Yeah.
Dude, that's amazing. That is so cool.
I know. It was like, like the first cup I didn't miss, I missed, and I was just like, man, this is the first cup in like 20 years I've missed. I'm like, huh,
wow, that's
so
crazy.
fun.
Wow. Yeah. No, we got to get you out and play some 10-man out at World Cup, or shit, get back out on the pro field and start dunking on fools again. You still got it, baby. You still got it.
I love playing. What I like the 10-man about it is like every game's a little different. Yeah. It's not like, okay, I'm going to pull up and shoot right here because, that's where, it's like each game there's someone, or you're watching a team, you're like, oh man, that guy's running to that center, or, different stuff. It's like different things happen so fast, but then it's just, there's more people to shoot too.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I love the 10-man because I could potentially go get 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like I could get a 10-pack. That would be insane. Yeah.
It's fun.
I would love to see top level pro teams play 10-man against each other with 10 of our, the 10-man roster versus their 10-man, and just like even play big airball games or like just big 10-man, I think would be awesome to see again.
Well, it was funny. It's like I remember one of our practices we were playing against when I was on Aftershock, and they were on the other guys were on the Ironmen, and we were like, oh, let's go play the zipper field. And that was when we had all our illegal guns, and it was just going crazy. That game was completely different. Like before, you like bam, 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 like shooting down the zipper. We were just like, whoa. And I mean, dude, you're like in there, you're like, oh my gosh, like it's just blowing up paint. And then like you were bunkering people and getting incinerated. And I was like, wait a minute, this is not the same game we played. I mean, I remember I shot E-Rob. I ran up and like in the zipper, you can like see the little cracks.
Yeah.
I look in there and I see the side of his head and I stick my gun through there, just right through the hole. And you're like, he's like, ow! And I'm like, I'm sorry. But yeah, I mean,
were you though? Were you really sorry?
No, not really. No, not for E-Rob. E-Rob deserves it.
Hey, shout out to Eric Roberts, old school Ironman player.
Yeah.
E-Rob, dude. Yeah. Man, what a guy. What a guy.
He was awesome to watch. I remember watching tons of Ironman, man. You guys had such a tight team back. I mean, they are obviously still today. Shout out to everybody on the Ironman, but the OG Ironman had a studded roster. You guys were just stacked up. It was fun to watch those games.
Yeah, that was some fun days when we started out there. I remember it was fun, especially when I first started, because I remember even like the story with that, like, I remember we came and tried out, they're like, hey, come try out. We came, tried out. The first day was, it was frozen, so no one could shoot. And we had I remember it was like me and Todd, we had all the paint in there just baking. So we were the only ones shooting. So we looked great. I'm like, that was a great practice. I don't know about you guys. I'm like, yeah, well, no one else could shoot, So,
yeah.
But then like, I remember like no one called us back, and then I'm like, oh, well, we're still going to go out to the next practice. No big deal.
Hey, Pax, can it just real quick? I'm sorry to interrupt, but that's funny because Tyler, if you remember, Shane brought up how Paxson was always so good with the paint at events. And you always were like, you're like our big brother. You're like, guys, okay, you guys are too childish and don't understand how important this is. I'm going to go take care of this. Yeah. You took care of your paint, and that likely got you the spot on the Ironman to go and win a couple championships, like such a small detail. Yeah. I just wanted to highlight that for the listeners, right? Because
I think it's one of the biggest details. That's a huge detail.
It is.
And he's a smart man. He knows, dude. He knows that how big it is.
Yeah. Well, you remember even too, like we would give like we'd tell them like, hey, kids, like you can shoot this. Yeah. This is safe to dive in the snake, dive to the corners. It'll never break. And then, like if you want to try to shoot something on the break, then you shoot this, and all colors and everything, and,
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there was a whole bunch of different stuff, but
dude, I want to just pause right there. You're talking about having different paint for different spots on the field. That's how you guys had it broken down. Mm-hmm. If you're shooting you have a little bit of this, and you could even get it to where you do like a little candy cane layer system where you put like off the break for the first 20 paintballs and then have some harder stuff if you're going digging out somewhere off the break or something.
Yeah, I remember even too, like when it was cold, I would have the harder stuff in the four pods in my pack, because you're usually closer by there anyways. But if you're breaking paint, you throw that hard shit in there and it always go through your gun, you know?
Yes,
yeah,
for sure.
You know, so
smart,
yeah,
very smart. All right, sorry to cut you off on your story there.
Well, she was like, when we played the Russians in Texas as LTZ, like we would have beat them, but like they started doing their stuff inside the tent, and it made it, and we had that super hard stuff we bought at Walmart, and it was like, and it literally was like bounce, like they're like, the one Russian guy fell out of bounds, we're shooting him, calls himself out, and the ref calls him, no, you're still alive, because everything
hold on. You bought paint at Walmart for a tournament?
We did. It was so bad.
You're kidding me. What?
I kid you not. We went and bought this Pro Ball at Walmart, and we would use it like in our packs, just because like you'd shoot on the break and then you'd blend, and they would blend too.
Yeah.
And then we would take like one of the pods of the good shit out, and you'd be like, and you could rip them.
Oh, that's funny.
Damn, that's crazy. Oh my god.
That is. So I want to, just for the listeners, I want to kind of go through like the lineage. We'll get to Aftershock, LTZ. I definitely want to talk about your time on LTZ, actually, because I felt like you took a young team that had just no experience and made them very respectable for the time that they were in the pro division. Like when when you joined the team, you guys, was it just one event and then you went to the Ironman? Was it just one?
No. I played a whole year. I'm just saying,
year.
We were only good 1 year or one event.
Okay, hey, well, that's better than most teams.
But when we
talk about that team, like, didn't they go from Division 2 to pro?
They went from they won Division 2, and then I was like, hey, you should just go up and play Division 1 and win that, and then go, you know, and they're like, no, we're going straight to pro.
Yeah, totally.
It was weird because they had the sponsorship, they had the stuff at the time, and you know, so it just seems like you know, they were like, well, this is the time. If any time we're gonna be able to do it's now. And you know, and so we picked up Bobby Avila's, we picked up a lot of guys that
shout out to B-Cat, Bobby.
Yeah. And you know, and the first event, I was like, hey, we're gonna run this the way I think it should be ran, and and we're like, yeah, and dude, we went to the top 4,
right?
You know, you know, and we, you know, could have, or even like at one point we were tied with the Russians, should have beat them, and you know, and we just lost. But I mean, you know, it's like we were a good team, you know.
Yeah, very good.
And from there on, Bart was kind of like, Bart Monroe was the guy that owned the team. And he said, you know, something, he goes, you know, we're not here to, because there was like 4 players on the team that could really play. You know, they were good, they could play at the level and consistently. All the rest of the kids still just need more time. And I said, hey, you know, these are the guys that are going to play. This is how it is. If we're ahead on points and other people can start to work in, and yada, yada.
Yeah, you had clarity from the get-go of how the whole thing was going to run.
And that's how I've always ran everything. It's like, hey, best 10 player. Well, you know, it's like, this is how it is. You know, if I have to run, you know, 5, that's all you're going to run. And that's just how it is.
Yeah.
But he goes, you know, hey, these are the guys that brought us here. This is what, you know, what really is. And I said, they're just not ready. But if you want to do that, great. We never won another match after that.
Yeah.
So,
oh man, that's funny, because I thought you guys did better the rest of the year, but I guess I just have it in my mind that one event, because it was you joined the team and you guys did well. So in a way though, like what you brought to the team, you brought that team to that level, and then, you know, unfortunately the owner didn't listen to the way, you know, and I understand a little bit, right? Like you want to get those guys experience, you want to get them caught up,
right?
It's just that's a steep learning curve.
Well, that's why I go practices for that. I said, we're playing pro teams at practice. That's when you learn that, you know, hey, this is when you learn how to play at a, you know, you don't take a race car and go, hey, let's put shitty tires on it just to see how it runs. You know, you're like, no, you put all the good shit on and run.
Shitty tires. Damn. All right, Pax, let's regress a little bit. Let's go back to
Can you believe people don't even know about LTZ? Like there's like LTZ was a amazing like group of young up and coming paintball players that made an awesome name for themselves for quite a while too. That was a cool group of I miss them all. Like you had Crow, Savino, you know, there was
Farmer,
so many,
dude. Brennan usually
Farmer.
He comes out sometimes. He came out to the Vegas event.
Cheese chips.
Cheese
dude.
chips. Oh my
Cheese.
God. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cheddar. Yeah. A ton of them.
Shout out to LTZ. We're going to dive in and let's dig into your lineage. And so you obviously started out with the story, and then how did it progress? How did you fall in love with like the tournament side of it and get into that?
It was just like anything, it's just kind of like, well, you're like, okay, well, where, you'd go look at it and be like, I remember there was a old tournament or something at SC Village. And I was like, oh man, these are like, and it was pros playing, and I'm like,
yeah,
oh wow, like, okay, this is the top level. All right, well, there we go. That's what you want to play for. And so then I was down, started playing on other teams, or not teams, but I was just doing throw together games, and they weren't really throw together games. It was like leftover pieces of teams that we just go and basically play, like you'd play not like quite the Ironman, but you'd play like amateur A teams, or basically like a pro team, and just get beat up all weekend. That's all you did. And so I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And then I remember one of the guys going, dude, you want to play on our team? And I'm like, and I remember it was so funny because the guys, I had this same beard, I think. And they were like, and I'm like, well, hang on, let me ask my mom first. And they were like,
what the heck?
And I was, I was 14, or no, I was 15. And they're like,
he looks like a grown ass man.
Yeah, this weird. This dude's weird, man. Like, this guy, he's 47, still living with his mom. So,
for anybody who doesn't know Mike, dude, this guy's got the burliest beard in the game. Head over to the YouTube. You can check the beard out. You were 12 years old, just at school. Like, they're like, there's an adult in the classroom over here.
Let me sign my off campus pass.
Oh, it's hilarious, dude.
But
so you were mixing in?
I was mixing in, and then just got on Team America, and then started playing with Wedo and all those guys. So then we just went kind of around.
It was called Team America?
That was the original team I played on. It was called Team America.
Dude, that's amazing.
Oh, it was so funny. It was great. But those guys were super cool. And like, they literally picked me up at my house. Like, I'd be sitting with my gear bag by the mailbox, and they're like, pick me up and go to the tournament. I always thought that was crazy too. I asked my mom, like, she's always worried about me leaving like the kids like in the car for 5 minutes, running in and out of the gas station. I'm like, you used to let me get my gear and go to North California with old men that you never even knew or met, And she's like, no, I knew them. I knew like Wedo, and you were fine as long as you're with him. I'm like, okay.
It's crazy. We hear that a lot, though. You know how like, and it's just a different paradigm that we live in this moment in time. But like when we were coming up, you guys, it was like, I would just, you'd get picked up, you go play paintball, and you get dropped back off, and it was a good day.
Nothing happened. It was just, Well, I mean, shoot, I remember, I maybe just got my license and drove to Arizona or something, like, in a little car, threw all your gear on and went and played a tournament. And you're like, and like how you got home, you never even knew. You're like,
you were pinning it. You were,
just hitting it. Yeah.
So what year was it that you played with Team America?
I played, let's see here. So that was 90, 95, 96.
Okay.
90,
awesome.
Yeah, something like that. And then went from there, played on a whole bunch of teams around there, California, with Wedo and those guys. Then got on Bushwackers and played on Bushwackers for almost the rest of the time.
What a legendary organization that was.
Ron was a machine, dude. It was so funny. Yeah, but he was great because I definitely wouldn't have gone as far without him, just because I remember as a kid going up, like, I had no money, and I'm like, look, I can kind of play paintball. I want you to teach me how to play better, but like, I can't afford any of this. She's like, well, everything you win will just go back into paying off your tabs. Yeah, that sounds great. It's like, and I remember, because, I remember when he's like, you're not quite a front player anymore. He goes, I'm going to hold you in the back because you stay alive long, and we're just going to give you a ton of paint and let you shoot. I'm like, this is great. You got to run up there. Oh, man. This
Sign me up.
Sign me up, man.
So that's how it started.
That's how it started. Because all the way through, almost all the way till I got on the Whackers, I was a front player.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
And I mean, I was fast, but I was big. I mean, but remember, you're running behind Hyperball too, so it wasn't a big deal. It was like, you just got to get up there and able to sign wild one guy on the team. You're good.
Yeah.
Wait, listen. Oh yeah, he's over there. He's in there somewhere. Let's get him.
Hell yeah.
So it was funny, but and then like, I mean, you'd run all the way up there, and like, I remember like that was kind of the same thing. He's like, dude, you stay alive forever. So he's like, let's just give you a whole bunch of pods and sit in the back. You can just shoot. And I'm like,
dude,
it's perfect.
Yeah, and sounds great.
Yeah, and it was funny. I remember being fast as a kid, and you could get to the corner before any of those fat guys could. You're just like rapping, going, it was so funny. I remember my first time because I was like, Ron, I don't understand. Like, I can way beat these guys out there. Like, I mean, these guys are filling out, and I can't even. But man, I can't hit them. And they're like far away. He's like, just turn your gun up. And I'm like, oh, okay. It's like, you only got to able to chrono off and shoot all your paint. Like, don't worry about it. You know? I'm like, oh, okay, cool, whatever.
Oh my God.
Watch this.
325, 330.
The dirty
right
secrets.
there.
We do not advocate that here on Play the Game podcast.
Yeah,
but
horrible,
it is
horrible. But your gun,
it's
your
how
gun
the
will
old school
pop
went.
out though.
It's how the old
you
school
know,
went.
it only goes up to like 320, and then like it starts shooting curvy. So you got to go back down. That's about the limit.
Right. There's a science. There's a science to it.
Mike's got the science down for sure.
Dude, so that's where you started your back careers with the Bushwackers. Ron Kilborn kind of steered you that way. And dude, you're like, yeah, load my pack up, baby. Let's go.
Let's do this. How many of these can I carry and shoot out of this whip? Let's do it. Yeah.
Fantastic.
And dude, you've been one of the most pivotal back players to ever play in paintball, in my personal opinion. Like what you brought to organizations with your fire, with your outlook also, because you bring a very unique outlook to a program, and your work ethic and just the grit. You know, you're a gritty paintball player. So it's been an honor to watch you since I was a little kid, you know, through the Aftershock and all the different transitions that you made throughout your career. And dude, we're stoked to pick your brain. So let's pick up.
Communication was always a big one too. Like,
oh, dude,
and it's so underappreciated. But again, like we were talking about this with Shane, but you knew what needed to be done on the field, and you would always joystick that kind of stuff.
Cord.
Oh boy,
charger cord. Hang on, we're losing juice.
Paxson needs a charger cord.
Give me the juice.
So we got B. We got B right here with us as well. We're gonna have B on the show soon. One of the most inspirational paintball players ever. She's phenomenal, and she has had paintball organizations like Destiny, and has been just pivotal for women's paintball. So we're excited to have her on the show at some point as well. We're hoping that we don't lose Mike here. He's hanging on by 1%. He's got 1% on the so we're rallying for the cord, people. Let's go. Can we get a drum roll, please?
I know.
Drum roll.
Yeah, I think that's it right here. Look, I plugged it in.
Dude, here we go.
I don't know.
Fast like a NASCAR. Let's go.
Right there. Yeah, it's charging right there. Bam. Look at that. We're getting full juice coming back in.
All right, cool.
Okay.
Woo.
All right, we're back. We're back.
There we go, baby.
The internet's a little laggy, but I think it'll.
I know. Yeah, internet's laggy.
Okay.
Okay. Don't do a thing.
Don't do it.
Fake.
B will start downloading stuff, and then it just goes to shit.
Oh boy.
All right.
At least the audio is still good, so the video doesn't quite have to match. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Shoot. Where were we? That was.
Well, we were talking about communication and how badass he is at that.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is such a underappreciated ability on so many teams, but you had a way of seeing what needed to be done, how the games and points were unfolding, and making sure that your team was in the right position to win, you know, and you were always that rock for your team on any team that you were on. Maybe, you know, I don't know, back like when you first got on Aftershock and stuff, I wasn't privy to your career then. I was just a kid, just barely getting my feet wet, but I know, you know, later on that was your role.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh.
Can she hear us?
Oh, okay. Mike, we can't hear you, brother. Hang on, PTG fan. We're going to figure this out. This is what it's all about, people, right here. We got Oh, I heard something.
Oh, that sounds better. Maybe we'll just use it without this thing for a while.
Okay, cool.
Still do
there we go.
Yeah, let's do this. All right, we're in there.
We're back in. We got charges. We're working it.
We're back in. Dang, that's my fault. I should have told you to make sure it's plugged in. I gotta know with you
with threads here, baby. It's just they're popping quick.
That's funny.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right, so we're dipping back into your story. We're gonna keep going from Bushwackers and carry on from there. You started playing back with the Bushwackers, and then how did the Bushwackers legacy turn out? Like, what was it like playing with them, and how did that go?
Well, it was funny because Ron was just making kind of a transition back, and I remember like, you know, not back, but like, you know, they used to have a pro team, and then they were like, you know, they kind of tailored it down, and then we were an amateur A team, you know, going in, and it was interesting because, you know, it was like, you know, everyone always looked at them like, you know, it's just like a stepchild, like no, you know, it wasn't really a pro team, and then I remember, you know, we used to travel all over, do all kinds of stuff. I mean, so many good players came through that organization. Just nonstop, and it, you know, but it was hard because we never had any money to hold on to a player. So like some tournaments we'd be unstoppable. We'd win every match and not lose one, and then like we'd lose like BC, and then we'd lose like Rodney, and everybody would just like leave. Like, you know, all of a sudden you're like,
so BC, Brian Cole was on there.
Oh yeah, we had tons of.
No way.
For just like I mean, it was weird. Like, I mean, I remember there's certain events that we'd go to. I mean, like I said, we just wouldn't lose a match. And then pro teams would just pick everybody apart and it'd be done.
Hey, it's not much has changed, huh? It's the same old ball game we're still playing. Dude, I had no clue that that BC was on there, who was one of the biggest dynasty players ever.
BC, Perchek, we used to do. I mean, we had tons of players that, I mean, all came through there, and it was just weird because it was just a roller coaster ride of like, you know, teams that you know, people would be like, oh my gosh, they're back. And then the very next event, they're like, oh, they suck, you know. It was crazy. Never knew, you know, and I remember, like, we picked up, basically, it was like all of, it would be basically like most of, you know, it'd be like the infamous guys that are now, but it was like we had that team and we went to Atlantic City. In the first game, we lose against Wild Geese. And they're, you know, and Rock, oh my gosh, he's like, dude, we just lost to them. He goes, they're horrible. And I'm like, yeah, maybe we just had a bad game, you know, I don't know. And then we ended up doing okay that event. And then we beat Strange, which was like, they never lost an event for like that whole year. Like, lost like 5 matches the whole year. You know, they should have been a team, but they were, you know, they were just like finishing out their year. And then we beat them, and he just went crazy. And then we lost the team to basically it was like Image. Yeah. And, you know, and they were like, you know, he's like, oh my gosh, like, you know, I remember it was just like the roller coaster ride, you know, but I mean,
for sure.
You know, yeah, it was cool, but you know,
what was it like to play against those iconic teams at that time? Because these are like, for people who don't know about Image, you know, or Strange, countless other teams. Yeah. What was it like playing against those iconic teams?
Well, like Strange was just like, it was weird. It was very frustrating. It was really playing against, it's like Damage. They're not going anywhere. They're not going to do anything, and they're just shooting lanes. And you're, you know, coming from, you know, California, you're just like, well, I got to run in there. No one's shooting at me, and you just run and get shot, you know. Yeah. And they just wear you down, you know. So it's like a very frustrating team to play. And like, you know, like Image, you were like, well, all we got to do is survive the break, and then we'll beat them on gun skills, you know, or, you know, it was things. But like, it was just so weird. It was just like every team had their different thing that you're like, okay, well, we just got to get past this and we should be okay. You know, it was weird.
I like that because there's so much power in that. You're doing your research and you're dissecting the team to see how you can beat them. And you're right. Everybody has an Achilles heel kind of, you know, and, you know, the best teams make that heel, you know, as small as possible, but everybody does still have that little Achilles heel, and you got to do the work to find out how you can beat them.
Yeah. And you know, it's weird too, because I mean, like, even back then or now, like 10-man days, it's like, or even everything, you know, it's like anything could get dropped at a hat where a ref throws a flag or goes something like that. And all of a sudden now your momentum switches and you're going on a downhill swing, you know, and you're like, and you know, what just happened, you know?
For sure. That happens all the time. Damn penalties, dude.
Horrible.
Yeah, dude. Oh man. Yeah, definitely.
Well, I mean, the best thing about having Oliver, I remember when we used to have Oliver on the team, it was like,
Yeah.
He used to. Every ref was watching him. I mean, get away with murder and no one would ever see. You're like,
Yeah.
Dick, just keep on, just watch him.
Yeah. Don't
him
look
around
over
the
here.
field.
Don't look over here.
Don't your eyes over here. Go after him. Yeah.
Yeah. He got all the eyes. That's for sure.
And it was so funny too, because like, remember back then, they would pull someone else for the penalty and put them in the box.
Yeah.
We were like, get in the box, going, yeah. I'm shooting from the box. Son of a bitch.
Dude, can you believe that we used to have a penalty box in the back of the field that we would come shooting out of, and everybody's watching, like the enemy, your opponent is watching the clock, just ready to roast you when you walk out of that thing, and you're like, okay, it was so much fun.
I used to love coming out of the box, and I used to love people coming out of the box. Like, like favorite times of it. I was like, oh, it's coming out.
Yeah.
Run into gunfire, try to dive into a better bunker to shoot the box.
That's right. That's right. We need that back. I like that.
It's exciting.
Dude, that was exciting. That was fun. Running out of that penalty box.
I used to love, remember when Sonny Lopez used to do the penalty box where the whole team would come back and listen? Dude, it was chaos. There was a horn like in the center of the field, and if you blew it, your whole team would come back and everybody got shot, come right back into the field. And
what?
Game switch, dude. It was awesome.
What tournament was this?
It was called the penalty box.
Dude.
Oh, what?
Yeah, so like, you're getting down, like you lose a couple people, like run to the center 50 and just hit the buzzer. And then it was just like, rah, you'd have a whole flood of people coming back in. You're like, yeah.
Hey,
that sounds amazing.
Mike, I hate to do this to you, but I know the listeners really are begging. We got to get those headphones back in. The audio's going in and out. So we're like, yeah, dude, I know.
Let's do it.
It's all about the listeners.
Well, we'll get it sorted out, Big Papa. I got you. Yep.
We do it live. This is raw, rugged, and real.
Yeah, we don't edit this out. Oh, we're back in. There you go. Can you hear us?
Right back to normal.
There we go.
Good.
There we go.
Seamless.
I love it. Nice.
See, this was just like your style on the paintball field too.
Yeah.
You know?
No, it was so funny. I remember like we were talking about the other one too. Was like when you run back, you're like, oh, my gun's hot or something. Obviously hot. And you're like, oh no,
obviously.
You'd run back for another gun. And I remember one time we were joking. It was like a triple point like on against the Russians. Yeah. And Papa hands me his gun, and I'm like, you don't care, you grab the first gun. Well, he runs a 45 and didn't even think about it. I'm running, I'm like, oh no! Didn't shoot, get out there and run out of air. And I remember there's like these Russian guys like all the way turned to my side, and I made Billy Wing run to my bunker. And then they didn't even see him come in. I'm like, shoot these guys. He comes right, he's like, whoa. And I remember because then he gets shot. I go, give me your gun. Give me like.
I remember the gun switch.
You took his gun?
I remember the gun switch.
Yeah, I give him Papa's gun because it's out of air by a lot. Like, why does I see him get shot? So I literally just grab his gun and hand him the other gun. And they see him walk out. And I'm in the same tower and I like peek out. And I remember they're like, wait, what's up? They turn and I'm like, oh, you're screwed now. and I remember and then they never figured it out because I remember I think it was either Marcelo or one of the guys run down and hangs the flag. I'm like, we get the point. Ran off the field because the rest were like, wait. You could tell they were trying to figure out what happened.
Oh my god!
Because I was out of air.
Dude,
for
talk about the will to win.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
We can't lose against those guys.
Will to win. The grittiest of all time. Mike Paxson, dude. I could count already on one hand how many laws you've broken in the paintball. Oh my god. Dude, you're going for it. I love this. That's amazing.
That was so funny. That was a great one.
That's the will to win, dude. You're going for it.
What's the worst that can happen? They can make you sit a game. No big deal.
Yeah.
Oh well, we were gonna lose that one anyways. Tack that one up.
Once again, we do not condone these activities on Play the Game podcast.
We will laugh at them though.
Yeah, we'll give it a good laugh.
What I will say is I'm very thankful that I know Tyler feels the same way because he grew up. I'm in Oakland Assassins, very similar. I'm thankful that I got to grow up around all you guys because it shaped me, man, into a much different kind of human, you know?
Marcelo was one of the tougher kids too, because I remember when we won. So this was the rule. I'm sitting there because I remember we were going to, I think we were playing the Russians or something. I can't remember now, but I looked at the kids. I'm like, listen, if we win, it's going to be way less. If we lose, I'm going to beat your ass. And they're like, oh shit, right? Well, like we win. So like we go back, we're like having a good time. Well, all the other kids scatter because they're like, oh man, they're going to get drunk and go beat us anyways. Marcelo's like, screw it, give me my beatings. Let's do this. It's over. Let's ride. I want to have fun,
Yeah, that was Cup. That was after we won against the Russians in 2007. That's funny.
There were mouse hid in the closet for all night. And then we found him. And he's like, you shaved my eye. Oh no, that was the second year. That was the second year.
No. That was 200007 because you shaved his eyebrow and then he quit. He didn't play with us in 08.
No. Oh, hold on. So, what? Wait, you got to break this story down. Yeah.
So after we win World Cup, it's not like, hey, let's all party and have a good time.
Yeah.
We're like, where did all the kids go? So we finally find him.
Wait, they ran? They ran away?
They ran away. Some went to another country. Some went to another. Yeah, no, Marcel's right there just drinking away. Boom, we're having a great time. I'm like, dude, I like that
17.
Kid. Yeah, I like that kid. Where's all the rest? Can't find him. We finally found, because I found Mouse hiding in the closet. He slept and hid in the closet. And I'm like, oh my God. I go, what are you doing?
I would have too, dude. Jeez.
Well, no, man. It was literally 2 seconds of fun. And then it was a great time after that.
Yeah.
He literally is like, and I'm like, that's it. We're going to shave your eyebrow. Like joking, right? He goes, you shave my eyebrow, I'll quit. I'm like, oh, that's it. You're fucked. Like,
why did you say that?
The whole thing off. Why would you say that? I'm like, quit. I don't want you on the team if you're going to quit. Get out of here. He was going to quit anyways.
Yeah.
So it didn't matter. It was just, we got to shave his eye for free.
That's the most hilarious thing I've ever heard, dude. Oh my God.
This was before Mouse was the beast he is now in size.
Well, then Mouse,
you guys made him turn this way. That's what it's your guys' fault. Because now he's a monster. You guys did this.
That's just like when we were I can't remember the other tournament we were at, and you guys all banded together and said, oh my gosh, like we can't concentrate because we're scared of like the things that'll happen after the thing. And I'm like, what are you scared of? I'm not going to kill you. And so then I came to my senses and I said, you should be scared, you little sons of bitches. And I chased them out of the room. And this was the funniest thing ever. I'm literally almost grabbing Mouse.
Yeah.
And Crunchy's running in front of it, and they're going down the fire escape, like almost down. He pushes Crunchy down the stairs, like 3 flights of stairs.
Oh no!
And jumps over him. And I fell down crying, laughing. I literally cried because Crunchy's body was just one after another. And then we get back, and now this was a team meeting, remember?
Oh my God!
And I get back, and they're like, "What happened?" I'm like, "Forget those kids, man." I'm like, if they're too much of crybabies to do that, and I remember Marcel's still sitting there like, yeah, I don't know what's going on, like, and then because they wouldn't say anything, so they made Shorty tell us everything that was going on. Like they talk Shorty and they're like, this is what you need to say. And I'm
Short
like,
was the spokesperson for them.
All the kids.
Totally. I wasn't in that clique. Like they were kind of clicked up. Short, Mouse, Crunch. Yeah. I mean, I was friends with them, obviously. I grew up with Mouse. We were super close, but Short and Mouse were actually really good friends. They were like super close. They grew up in the same area. And on the Ironmen, it was weird. It was kind of cliquey in a way. I mean, we had 15 dudes.
Yeah,
and so,
awesome.
So the team was a little cliquey, and I was just like,
I just want to say something real quick. This is so great for just the memories. I mean, you guys built timeless memories together, and also having a dude like you chasing them around and like, it was like Danny Miller was kind of like that, and like Riley Sullivan when I was growing up, but obviously not as brutal as you. But I kind of, you got to have that kind of stuff, and it's fun, man. You guys are having fun. They're crapping their pants because I think you're actually going to whoop them. But that all adds to the excitement. You guys are having a good time. And nobody was, really injured too badly. So it was
never. It was all fun and games, man. I mean, look, my dad was 80 years old when he passed, much older. My older brothers are older than you, Pax. They're 50 something and they're just old school Italian. So I was kind of raised that way, so it's always been. That's always been nothing. That's fun.
You're always right in it. You didn't care. It was awesome.
Yeah. That's what it's all about, man. Enjoy the experience, dude. That's it. Enjoy the whole thing. All right. So where were we with the Lineage? Were we still with the
Bushwackers? Where were the Bushwackers? Yeah. So I think next because I think it was Mike Hinman that was saying he owes much of his career to you for getting him a spot on Aftershock. So, that's, I mean, you've done a lot for a lot of different top players and coaches in the game, you know? So how did your career go from Bushwackers to Aftershock?
So I was down in Florida, and Todd Amson goes, well, you know, we're having a big practice, come out and play.
Poopy.
And I said, yeah, you know, and I was like, well, you know, I don't really want to try out for the team. You know, at that time I was always super loyal. And so I'm like, no, I'm playing with Ron. So like, you know, but I'll come out and play. Cause I always wanted to play. And so we go out there and, you know, and we mix it up. And I remember shooting a cocker like the whole day, and I'm like, you know, just going and having a good time. Like, oh, this is great. You know, and they're like, hey, you know, try this gun. And I remember it was like an old Matrix, right? You know,
yeah.
Shot phenomenal. I mean, just straight arrows, real fast, you know. And I'm like, dude, this thing's money.
That was a game changer when that came out. That was a game changer.
And it was funny because I'm like, well, no one will ever make that corner, like ever, you know. And they're like, yeah, and they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, with this thing? Like, oh, no way, man, that dude's dead every time. Yeah. And you know, so then it was funny because I remember Todd and Billy Saransky and Ryan Williams, they all sit down in the room and they're like, hey, so we're gonna get your sizes, get all your stuff, and you know, and I'm like, well, no, I'm not playing, you know, I'm gonna play with Ron still. And they're like, no, that's not how it's working. We're gonna send them to your house right now. And they literally did. They sent all their shit to my house, and Todd called Ron and said, hey, you know, he's playing with us now. This is how it is.
It's just how it is.
Wow.
And Ron's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, well,
power.
Yeah, actually, I want to do this, you know. And he's like, all right, I think you should. And
that's got to feel great. That's got to feel great, dude. Yeah.
Well, and that was the cool thing about Ron was he's like, that is better for your career and doing all the stuff. He's like, you really should go play for him.
You deserve that. Yeah.
Yeah. And Ron totally understood. And you know, it's so funny because like I always thought bad, like, you know, all the people that, you know, would play for Ron for like, you know, us. I always won my thing. Always like, I didn't care how the season was going. I'd always finish out the season. And then at the end of the season, I'd say, hey, look, this, and this sucks. If you don't change that, I'm gone. And they'd be like, oh, well, we're not changing. Okay, see ya. And I leave.
That's right.
But you know, I'd always finish the season no matter what. It was just how I always was.
I think there's a lot to be said about that, man. That's a very noble thing to do. And I as well, Marcel, you know, I think we've always finished our seasons out and
I had 1 year with the Ironmen in 15, but you know, I kind of felt like the season did end, in all honesty, because that was when the PSP folded.
That's right.
They weren't sure what was going to happen. And, you know, when I did go to Dynasty. So,
but I just respect that. And, you know, it happens here and there. There's crazy things that happen. You got to go your separate ways or whatever. But for the most part, if you can, you should finish out a season with your team and give them the time and then do it when it's right at the, you know, the end of the year.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I remember even when you were talking about that and you were like, dude, I have a chance to go play for Dynasty. I'm like, yeah, go do that. That'd be great. It's great for you, you know.
Dude, hell yeah. Get over here. Let's go.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Let's play some ball.
That's the one team I've never played for was Dynasty.
And the one team that I've never played for is Ironmen. I've always wanted to, like, I've had a space where I was like, I never played for the Ironmen, you know, and I've always had a lot of respect for the organization as a whole. Yeah. Shout out to Aftershock though. One of the biggest names in paintball coming up. Like when I first started in the game, watching all these legendary videos, I was like, damn, these guys came to handle business. What was it like? Talk to me about how you got onto Aftershock and then, you know, your time there with some of the most iconic paintball players ever in that organization.
Well, you know, it was funny because, you know, coming from Ron and then, you know, going to this, it was like, well, I'm sitting there going like, all right, you know, I had no idea what to expect. And so like the first year I go in there, you know, and it's like, you know, here's Todd and, you know, and I've known Todd for a long time, knew Billy for a little bit, but, you know, kind of going and Billy's, you know, sitting there and he's having this big speech about, you know, hey, look, you know, we breed winners, He goes on to this whole speech. He's like, Todd, take over. I'm going to go take a shower. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of weird. Okay, cool. You know, but, you know, so he goes, you know, he's like getting ready to, you know, we're going to go eat afterwards. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
You know, so he goes in there. Todd's super serious. I'm like, something's wrong here because if Todd's not serious, why is Billy being so serious? Something's going on. You know, so I'm already on the defense. I know something's going down. Well, so all of a sudden, lights go out. I'm like, oh, bad things. Get to the corner.
Oh, no.
You know, hey, obviously we already know this. Get to a corner, you can protect yourself.
Yeah.
Lights go back on. Billy Saransky is completely soaked up. I mean, lathered as much as you could be. And he goes, soap man. And he dives on all the kids. And you can't keep him off you because you slide off. And his whole body goes on you. And he's sliding across everybody. And I'm like, you know, And that's literally was the deal, was Soap Man and the new meetings. And it was, everyone was looking forward to it.
Shout out to the 1990s, baby. Let's go.
I know. And everyone, and then the next year, everyone looked forward to Soap Man. Like, we all knew it was coming.
Where's the Soap Man?
Yeah, we want the Soap Man. And he's sitting there, and like we're all waiting. And here's like, I remember because the next year, I remember like Fish, Mini Mike, and like who else? There's a whole bunch of kids that are sitting front row, all getting to the and I'm like, Soap Man's coming. Like, here it comes. Turn up, let's go take a shower. I'm like, oh my God. I'm literally about to cry. And then all of a sudden, you remember Fish, because Fish wouldn't fight anybody at a drop of a hat. And all of a sudden, here comes Soap Man. And you can't even.
Soap Man. All right, so once again, PTG Nation, we do not condone these activities.
No, it's
but
horrible.
by God, we sure enjoy your weird stories of the Soap Man.
The Soap Man was the best.
Dude, okay, so here's an even funnier thing. If you go, there's a funny like Instagram account. I'm not even gonna say it. I can't. It's like a similar thing where this guy like puts shaving cream all over his body. And he's called Cream Daddy. Okay, I said it. And
horrible.
Yeah, dude, it's kind of hilarious but weird at all at the same time. So shout out to the Soap Man.
Alex Frazee follows him.
Yeah, that's right. Alex Frazee follows him.
Eggman, right. Dude, you're busted. What is
actually, you know who showed me that is I'm gonna put him on the blast. Brandon Short. Thank you, Brandon.
100%.
Dude, what is this guy? This guy's
big
insane.
Short dog. Yeah,
I miss Short.
Yeah. So Chicago was a rowdy crew. I mean, talk to me about the players on that team so we can kind of have a little insight as to why there was a Soap Man running around.
Yeah, it was so funny because it was just like, you always looked at them. Because they were so serious once the game started. But it was really cool because and that was the thing. Like when we were testing paint, I remember testing paint. Going like, all right, cool. I think this is good. And Billy's like, I don't know. He's like, hey, kid, get out there, run out there. He's like, and kid ran out there, put goggles on. And Billy's like, he's like, go further. And he's shooting the kid with his paint. He goes, oh man, a couple bounces. He's like, no, let's go down a couple. And I'm like,
yeah,
you just shot that kid to test the paint. Oh, that's pretty awesome. I like that.
It was a different time. It was a different time, dude.
And it was, and it was like, I'm like, man, this drop test is just not good enough. We got to get the kids standing out there so we can shoot them.
So how old were you when you got on to Aftershock? How old were you?
Oh shoot, let's see here.
You were in your 20s, right?
Yeah, I was like 20. I was like 23, 24, right in there. Yeah.
Okay.
I remember I couldn't rent rental cars. I couldn't rent rental cars yet. Yeah. So I was underneath that. Because they were like, just rent a rental car. I'm like, I can't.
That's the milestone. That's the milestone. Yes. Once you hit 25 after that, it's like, what are we doing here?
Yeah. And then you can rent a rental car and you're unstoppable.
Hot tip. Yeah. If you're 18, you can go to Enterprise, and you can rent a car. It's a little more expensive. Yeah, that was. I always got. I got sucked into doing that with the Ironmen.
Oh yeah, see that's stupid. That's stupid. Never rent the rental car. Ever.
Never. No. That's the worst idea. You do not want to put your car down for that.
Yeah.
My best thing ever is with a meeting we used to have with Billy, because remember he's like, so we totaled another rental car and you can't do this anymore. We're like, it wasn't me. Hello.
Yeah. Oh my God! Sweet. Remember when we took the dive van up north for practice?
Now,
okay.
Now I still get in trouble for that, and I haven't played for him in like 3 years. So it's like, but that was pretty funny. That was funny.
I was.
How many cars do not work anymore?
Bro, that was too much. To this day, like I still I'm sitting there going like, so many bad things could have happened that day.
So many bad things.
I'm just like, oh
wait, what happened with this car? Come on.
Let's just say somebody was
off a ramp.
No, somebody was shooting a paintball gun inside the car.
So Mouse got upset.
Oh, come on, Mike.
Yeah, Mouse gets upset at everyone, and I'm laughing because I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. I think it's kind of funny, because I used to love when Mouse get pissed because he's like, I can't beat you up, but I'm so furious at you. So I do because I know that Mouse is in the car, but you can't see because the tinted windows. Yeah. And I'm like, all right, he's in there. Like, what is he gonna do? I'm thinking like, oh, he's gonna hit his head with a soda, right? I do a head check into the van, and a paintball goes whack on the window, like missed my head by this much.
Oh no!
And I'm like,
We do not condone this activity.
Yeah, I'm like, you're trying to shoot at me with the paintball gun. I'm like, I'm gonna kill you if you come out of that damn van. And he's like, oh, you gotta get in here. Da da da. Well, Marcelo's like, guys, quit, stop. Oh my God, I can't believe you're doing this in the van. Da, 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 da. And I'm like,
I was in charge of the van, dude.
Yeah,
I was in charge.
Well, I was driving, but he's like, he's trying to shoot me. He's trying to shoot you. Well, then I go, I bet you can't hit my hand in the van. And he goes, all right. So he aims, and right when I'm like, oh, he's gonna shoot now. And I move my hand, and it goes right into the radio. Boom! Smash the window, like the whole screen of the radio's dead. And I'm like, oh no, that wasn't any better, right? And so I mean, the van was totaled. It was totaled at the end of the time. We never got to use it again, and that was the last time we went to NorCal.
And I had to bring the van back to Die and drop the keys off and say, I'm sorry.
The best was he's like, he goes, hey, do you want to come back and help me? No.
Good luck.
Yeah, you're crazy with that. Drop me off on the corner. I'm done.
No, man.
You guys had a lot of fun on that team. That's for damn sure.
It's funny. I thought I was 24 at the time, and I thought I was like such an old man, but I was like, we can't be doing this with the van. It was wild times, man.
You were the dad.
I was the dad.
Yeah.
I told him we should have stole it.
And you had the bad child. You had the bad child Mikey with you.
My plan from after that, once the screen broke, I'm like, we should steal it, say it got stolen, get the cash for it, and then just report it stolen. Like, it's done. It's
Dude,
over.
you don't miss. You know how to hit it from all angles. You're a winner. You're a winner, Mike. You're a cold-hearted winner. So I'm sure these are things that you're a part of. Like, every team you go to is like its own band, it's like its own wild rock show. And I kind of want to dig back into Shock. I want to hear about some of these stories with Shock and just what it was like with your time there. Because how long were you with Shock? I
was 2 years. I only went 2 years in Shock. And Danny Love and all this stuff, man. I mean, he was just, it was amazing how I remember too, because he was like, he played the first year with me, and we had a great time, and it was awesome. And and he was kind of like the same thing where, like, he was just like, he would always be alive, always kind of going through the thing.
Yeah.
But
I didn't realize he was from NorCal. I just found that out a couple months ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And so then he quit the second year, and then that's when they were kind of rebuilding it. And then we brought on Henman, we brought on Fish, Mini Mike, all those guys.
Yeah.
And went through
heavy
that.
hitters.
Yeah, and it was good. And I mean, we had a good team. We did well, and it was interesting. But it was a whole different. Yeah, and it was different too, because with the older guys on there, I remember, like, because Jeremy Solomon was the coach, and with the older guys, like, it was a real different vibe. Like, everything went around, and they kind of, like, we formulated plans better. And then when Jeremy and then all the kids came in, it was like Jeremy's law was it, and that was how we went down. And I was like,
yeah, that's right.
Okay, like, it was weird. It was two totally different years playing on it. And it was really interesting. Yeah, it was.
Is that your daughter behind you back there?
Oh yeah, the little one.
Yeah.
Come here, monkey. Let's put you up on the camera.
There we go. Go ahead over to the YouTube. You can check out Mike's beautiful daughter. Hi, sweetheart.
We just lost a tooth.
Congratulations.
The tooth fairy is going to come and get some money for you.
Oh, it already did.
There we go. Big money.
Nice.
So
awesome.
How many children do you have again? I'm sorry.
Two. I got two.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got
two baby girls.
Yeah, two baby girls. Yeah.
Beautiful,
which it's funny, Marcel. So you should come up hunting next year, because she's already ready to hunt next year. So
there we go.
Wow.
I know. She's all pumped on it. I know. Dude, she runs me off a laundry list of things. She's like, I want to shoot an elk. I want to shoot a deer, turkey, ducks, geese, and then I want to go catch a tuna. I'm like, that's a long laundry. That's a laundry list there, kid. Like,
we're gonna be busy.
That's feel bad for whatever boyfriend comes to the house when he's like 16.
Yeah. Good luck.
Yeah, I know.
Good luck with Mike.
So fun. Yeah, right. Let's go have a talk deep in the woods.
That's right, man.
I turn my gun up real quick.
Yeah. Hold on. Go stand over there. I got to check a shot. Put these goggles on.
Yeah, let's see if these paintballs been in the closet for about 5 years. Let's test this out.
When's the last time you played? Have you played?
Yeah, that North Carolina event just
okay.
like a couple weeks ago. Yeah,
Beautiful,
it was fun. Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, yeah. Dude, it was me, Rocky Cagoni, and it was Rocky Cagoni, all the Misfits and stuff. It was a lot of fun.
Dude, shout out to Rocky. I love that guy.
Yeah,
Rocky
Cagoni.
And then
yeah. So and then Richie was there, so it was fun.
Beautiful.
Yeah, Richie Malachowski. Yeah. So yeah, it was fun. Yeah. We had a good time.
Yeah, you've played. I mean, dude, you've played alongside some of the biggest names in paintball for your whole career, pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, how many wins do you have? You must have a few pro wins under your belt.
Oh yeah, I got quite a few. It's funny because I remember Meter one day we were having like a bet, and he's like, "Oh, we should compare heavyweight medals, right?" And I'm like, "All right," and I literally took a picture and I had them draped across both arms. I have all the medals from everything I ever won. Yeah. And so I just have like this big box I keep tossing them in, like,
dude, you're studded. Yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah, it's funny. But well, the new thing is now the rings are kind of cool. So I have a deer antler up, and I'm trying to fill all the antlers all the way up with the rings.
There we go.
That's tight.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. I know.
You must have a freezer full of delicious meats, pretty cool, right?
There.
Yeah, I like that one. Yeah, see, that one's good. Is that the World Cup one? Yeah, those ones look cool, man.
Yeah,
not bad.
Yeah, I
got my little ring up here in my shrine area. I got a little paintball shrine.
Yeah, I like them. I like the rings too. They're a little bit better. Totally.
Little flash on it.
Flash,
I remember, you guys obviously have won World Cups together. You got two of those rings together right here.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, that was fun. Back to backs too. That was fun.
They weren't doing rings back then, though. Damn it, we should have got some made. I don't know why we never got some made.
I know. Yeah. Well, remember we were going to make that belt. Now those belts are cheap. They're like $100 to them.
Right. Yeah.
I know.
Dude, we got to make them now. Get them.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Well, I know. I was joking. We were going to do a fun, because like Mr. U hunts now, and
that's right.
So does Miko. And then like my cousin and a couple others. So I'm going to make a belt for like the biggest fish and the biggest deer or whatever, or elk or whatever, with a bow. So I'm going to make those belts so we can take them out.
Marcelo, you're probably going to be a fisherman and an elk hunter when you're done playing paintball.
I know.
Hey, you never know. You never know.
Bring them right up.
Oh man, we remember Pax. We actually. It wasn't my first time fishing, but it was I had only fished maybe twice before that, but we did that road trip from Jacksonville to was it Myrtle Beach
it was Myrtle Beach down to Jacksonville.
Okay, that's right. And we did a little bit of fishing there. That was fun.
Yeah,
good
that was really cool. Yeah,
I love to fish, man.
Hell yeah. And it could be a very pivotal thing to know going into the future.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
How to fish and hunt. It could be very important.
Well, it's even like Johnny Perchek, one of the first times he went fishing with us, he was sitting there. He's like, dude, I won't touch the fish. I won't bait a hook. I go, all right. Because I remember we were trying to get everybody on the boat. And I'm like, I'll bait every hook for you and I'll take off every fish for you. He's like, okay, cool. And he went. And he's like, this is awesome. Yeah, this is awesome. And he's just holding the thing, drinking a beer. And,
yeah.
Dude, some of my best memories are, going out fishing with my dad in the Northern California, like mountains and stuff. And there's a bunch of lakes and all that kind of good stuff up there. So it's just great quality time. You get to have some food as well. We'd bring home the fish. Mom would cook it and we get to eat the rewards. So it's fun.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, good. Mike, you would have loved this story, this adventure that I got to go on when I was in Norway a couple years back. It was probably 4 years ago. I stayed with the Ron Holt Blast family, that team from out there.
Oh yeah.
So I stayed with the owners, the lady and her two sons that play on the team, kind of the all-stars of the team. And they own the field down there. It's like 5 minutes from their house. And we had dinner. Yeah. It's getting dark. And they're like, okay, so in a couple hours, do you want to go fishing? And I was like, at midnight? Is it good? I was like, what do you mean? And they're like, it's kind of a treacherous little hike.
That's when you get them.
We'll do some good fishing. And I was like, absolutely. How can I turn that down? So we drive like 30 minutes into the woods. I mean, we're deep and I'm kind of, it's pitch black out. We have like, these overall things on, rubber boots, flash, the whole deal.
You always got to be careful in those moments.
Dude, I was a little scared. I was a little nervous, but they were so sure of what we were doing that it gave me comfort, So I was like, they've done this. We must have hiked 3 miles into the woods on foot in through like the river. We were like kind of climbing up this waterfall, and we finally get to this point. It's like this big opening, and again, pitch black. And we were spear fishing with these like wooden things. Is how we were catching them.
Oh,
so it was insane. It was one of the coolest things I've ever done. These are straight.
Sounds like
Vikings,
I feel like I'm
dude.
like playing Zelda.
Yeah, dude. And one of the dudes brought his girlfriend. She was a total badass. Just hooks a fish right away, you know. And then like they were putting him all on this spear. We're carrying him like over our shoulder. We go up on this like little ravine, and the dude pulls out all this stuff to start a little fire. We cook up the fish right there, sit around right there, eat the fish, head back. I remember the sky was just insane, dude. I mean, it was pitch dark. You could see so many stars above you. It was amazing. We're sitting there just eating this fish that we just cooked. Tasted like the best fish of my life, but it probably wasn't.
Right.
It was just, you know, the whole whole ambiance of it.
Right.
It was crazy. It was one of the coolest experiences ever. Major shout out to that whole Ron Holt Blast family. They're awesome. Awesome.
Fishing is such a bonding experience. Like, especially when you get to cook it right there and like that whole experience and you're telling stories around the campfire and it's a whole thing, you know, there's nothing better than those kind of moments for sure.
It was so raw the way it was all done, you know. It was so caveman, like, you know, like to your roots. Truly, just everything was done right there. It was really cool.
There's one hike we go on every year up here. It's 10 miles up to this like Arctic lake. Fishing's amazing. The views are just, I mean, you can look any direction. It's just awesome. And I love that hike. Like every year I look forward to it. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. I can't imagine. The mountains up where you're at are spectacular. Those are beautiful.
Yeah, it's sweet. Yeah. But, you know, and also too, like you're saying, like just the thing about, you know, doing that. I remember I loved cooking for the team out, you know, we'd have those team cookouts. And I mean, you know, Shorty and Scotty eating all the guacamole before even there. It's a bowl this big, you know, it's like, you know, but I mean, it was just the funny thing of everything, you know, you're like, I can't believe, you know, and it was just always common. You learn so much about your team just by, you know, sitting around doing nothing, you know?
Totally.
Yeah, the bonding experiences, like you got it. If you're any type of a team in paintball, you've got to be eating together, having those barbecues. It's just like, you know, in Push, the old Push video where they're all barbecuing, having fun. And like, that's where you find out everyone's kind of true colors, you know, is when people get hungry and like, you know, when they want some food or, you know, people start playing jokes or having fun. It's just like shooting the shit around the food there. Yeah. Dude, that's I know we always try to have barbecues before our tournaments and stuff. It's good team bonding. It gets everybody together because most of the time you go home after practice and everybody goes and does their own thing. This keeps everybody together, keeps them growing together.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like when I coach teams, I'll see them pack up and everybody just goes home and I go, no, we're all going to eat together for sure. What are you guys doing, man? You know, it makes a difference. It really does. Like you need to be close to your teammates out there. It's such a sport built on trust and respect for each other, you know, because it's a total team game. That kind of stuff pays off for sure.
It does.
I used to love we do those games at the end, like, you know, you do a 1-on-1 or 3-on-3 or something like that, and then the winners would get to know or get to, you know, say where we went to lunch.
Yeah.
Shane came up with that. It was so good.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah. It adds something to the day too, because you're like, someone's going to be picking this food out at the end of the day. You know? And then during practice, you could be like saying where we're going, and then people are like, no, we're going here, man. You know?
Shoot, we'd be stretching out, and I'd be like, hey, where are we going to eat lunch at?
Yeah, hell yeah. It keeps you on your toes. We do the same kind of thing. We'll have a player of the day or whatever, whoever we feel like had the best day, and they get to choose the food. And then it's just, you know, it keeps everyone hungry, and you get to eat together. You get to hang out a little bit more and create that bonding. It's all about, you know, the time off the field is just as important as that time you put in on the field. You got to be spending that quality time and like really knowing who each other are out there, you know? Yeah. All right. So after Aftershock, how did that? So how did that come to a closure? And then what was the next step in the lineage here?
Sounds like he was over Jeremy.
Yeah. No. You know, it's funny. Yeah, Jeremy was interesting. It was a total different. He's a total different coach than you've ever probably had in your life.
He's still going at it. He's still getting it.
Still doing it. Still going. And you know, something. It's funny when I think when he gets the right group of people together, he's actually and he gets that whole ball rolling. You know, he's a good coach for that. You know, if he went to Dynasty and you had all those other opinions come out, he would melt down in a heartbeat.
I love Jeremy and what he like. His heart is always in the right spot. He's like, he wants to win more than anybody, and sometimes it's frustrating. It's super frustrating with paintball, and but the guy obviously wants to win, dude. Like,
he wants to win
more than anything. Yeah.
And that's one thing I've always had problems with, because I always feel like, I always try to adapt on different things real fast.
Yeah.
But, then there's a certain coach, I'm not saying Jeremy's one of his coach, but, trying to put that, like, well, we have the best plan and it's this square. And I don't care if we're putting that square in a circle, we're going to make that circle into a square. And that's our game plan. And I'm like, well, that's not working. We've lost 3 points in a row. Obviously that sucks, but, I've always hated that different type of coaching, and it's weird, so it's, that's why I always love Shane. Cause it was like, what are we doing? What are we doing this play? Oh, we're doing, the KC shuffle. Like, we're just going to go to their side on the break.
We were just talking about that.
Yeah. Right? You're like, perfect. I love it. Or, Oliver would just be like on the break, he's like, we're doing beast on the break, like just out of nowhere. I'm like, yeah, I love this plan. I just get to run behind Oliver and shoot people, it's like, it was just like, there were so many plays that you had at a drop of a hat you could throw in there, and it would just be, be off the wall, and they would never, like, they'd only see it once an event, and then we'd do it 2 times in a row and quick 2 points. And they were like, where the hell did that come from?
Shane's a master, dude.
Oh, yeah.
His coaching style. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny. And also too, with just Shane, everybody fed off. It didn't matter. You're like, even if you thought, like, in your head, you're like, that's the worst play I've ever seen. And then, but you're like, if you were behind it, it was like all 5 of us were behind it. It didn't matter. It'd work.
That's right. Yeah.
Shane had a way of making everybody buy in. He was so good at understanding how unique each individual's needs were, with like what type of coach he needed to be for that player. He did. He was like, I told him straight up on the show, it's like you were like the Phil Jackson, in a way, where you were able to take all those personalities and kind of mold that and get to each player a little differently, Yeah.
And I think everybody had,
No, go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
I think everybody had their own, like, personal relationship with Shane in his own different way. And so, and it was funny because, even like the cliques he would bring together, because, like, there was the kid clique, there was, the other little rowdy clique that we had, and then it was like, then there was the old guys on the team, and and then he would just always blend them together, and we it was just funny. And I remember that was like the one job I had at meetings was when Oliver and Billy started arguing too much, I could crumble up the paper, throw it in the trash, and that was the only thing I had to do in meetings. Like, that was my only deal. And I was like, yeah, I can do that. That's solid, and that it just kept them from arguing too much,
Yeah.
He would look at me, give me the sign, hey, crumble time. Okay. they would both get mad, curse me out. I'm like, yeah, whatever.
But now you're the common enemy for them, so they're
exactly
not mad at each other anymore.
And they're not mad at him. And then he could talk and it would be done.
Yeah.
Shane was like the orchestra leader, he was the one that was pulling all the strings behind the curtain and making things happen. And then I think having the big dichotomy of people as well in an organization is really good for the growth of the team. You can't have everybody thinking the same, you got to have people coming at the objective from so many different angles. Otherwise we can't grow. If I have no point of reference, if everybody's looking at it the same way, I have no point of reference to look at it any other way. So I need all of you to give me another angle so that I can bounce off of it all and pick the path. So I think there's something really powerful about that, the way that he would have these clicks and then, kind of be letting everybody do their thing. And then boom, you got the paper roller when things get tough, you got the paper roller comes swooping through and gets them.
Well, and it's even like when we'd pick teams for, playing 3-on-3s at the event, we'd sit there, and it was like, I remember, Short would be a captain, I'd be a captain, and they'd go, all right, Short, who's your first pick? And you'd pick like Scotty, and I'd be like, oh, I picked Miko. And then they're like, okay, and then he'd pick someone else, and I'd be like, I got Marcelo. Like, you guys fucked up. We win. It's over. And they're like, and they're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, yeah, watch this. And we'd beat them every time, And then even Shane goes, why do you never pick Pax or Miko as one of your first picks? And he goes, and then they get the kid, and you go, you guys are fucked. You never kill any of them. And it goes, and they shoot 1 or 2 of you on the break every game. And they're like, they're like, oh man, or they, and then no one would pick Oliver, so it was always funny,
Dude, you were playing the game, man. You're playing the game.
So
dude, Paxson's the OG at playing the game.
Yeah.
Damn, dude.
Water buckets for days.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Dude,
Oh man, the ranch, some ranch stories. We were talking about the ranch with Shane a little bit.
Dude, we had the best time out there. It was so funny because I had a place to stay down there with like Miko, but I used to love to stay at the ranch with the kids because it was comedy. Like, hey, you were there the day though when remember something jumped in the back of my truck?
Yeah, and then jumped on the roof.
Yeah, and so like they thought I was messing with them. I'm like, no, do you guys really hear that? And they're like, I remember all the kids like stopped dead in their tracks. Oh my god! And then like we're sitting there, and I'm like, it's got to be one of the goats or something. Like, and I was dead serious at the time.
And it's like late at night. Late at night. Late. We're out in Ramona. Let's set the stage the setting. We're on a 100-acre ranch. Like there's ghosts there for sure.
The skull. Remember the skull was there.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. Like there.
And this was your guys' private practice facility for the Ironmen. Yeah, amazing.
And so then like it like ran across the roof and then jumped into the back of my truck and then went out, but we never saw what it was. But my truck was bouncing up and down.
It was a chupacabra. It was a chupacabra, of course.
I said that. Remember I said that. So chupacabra.
That's what it was, dude.
Well, and then from that day on, Crunchy would sleep in my bed every night. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? And he's like, no, it's fine. It's fine. I'm like, no, get out of here.
Dude, he was one of the fastest paintball players to ever hit the pro field. That guy.
And small.
Yeah.
Yeah,
tiny
Sean McDonald, dude. Major love to Sean McDonald.
Yeah, huge shout out to
Young
Sean
Crunch,
Crunchy.
dude. Young Crunch. He was the KC Shuffle master.
Yeah.
Yep. That's hilarious stuff. Dude. All right, but before because I'm curious as to how the conversations came for you to leave LTZ and go to the Ironmen. Because we went from Aftershock to LTZ in 06, right?
Yeah. So I was coaching LTZ at the time, and then they were like, "We really want to make this jump." This is the deal. And then I said, well, let's pick up these players. I think they'd mix in good with our team. And we went for it. So it was kind of interesting, and I said, I'll still coach and run the team. We'll have a coach, but I kind of will set out the plans and we'll do it all. And that's how we went into Texas, and it wasn't bad. And then I kind of got discouraged too, Bart says, hey, everybody's going to get a chance to play. The first 3 points are going to be laid out this way. And then, so every match we go, it'd be 2-1. And that's how we'd start out every match. And it was just kind of a downhill or uphill battle from there. Right. But when I got discouraged, go ahead.
I just want to set the tone here because LTZ was one of the winningest divisional teams ever.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. They were supposed to come into the pros and they did actually, like we talked about, on that first event, but they were like, everybody was like, this could be the next dynasty or the next like big up and coming group of kids that are going to have a long stay. And I'm bummed that I don't see many of them playing anymore. I don't know if any of them do. Do you know if any of the LTZ guys still play? They don't. Yeah, because I think that adds a lot of value because they were such a good team. I remember seeing pictures of Alex Savino with like 30 or 40, I don't know how many trophies around him. You remember that picture?
Yeah. I mean, they won. It was crazy because we'd go to these events.
They won everything.
Yeah, we won everything. It was crazy. But the part I got discouraged in because and I give it to Bart because Bart's like, hey, these are the kids that got us to this point. These are the kids that I want to continue with.
That's right.
Because because he's like, and after the second event, like some of the guys were like, hey, I don't really want to play anymore. They wanted to go back to their other teams or different stuff. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. It's not a big deal. But I got discouraged on a lot of the kids. So, Vegas was our next event. And we had a field set up in Vegas.
That's right.
The entire week before Vegas. And I'm like, hey guys, every day, let's come out here. Let's just shoot our guns, shoot your shots, run some things. I go, I don't care if you come in a t-shirt and shorts, bring your gun, goggles, and we'll just shoot a little bit before each day. Every day.
Yeah.
And it was me and Cheddar there every day. We even one night we were like, we're going to get drunk at the field. And and we stayed out there, made campfire, played night paintball, like blew the field up. We were just
that sounds awesome.
Having a great time. We were joking about the LTZ survival camp.
Yeah.
And you know, and then but we literally played every single day out on that field. Me and Cheddar were there every single day, and there was only maybe 2 or 3 kids that would come out during that week. And that's when
It was because they like to have fun. Obviously, you know, they were like
like to have fun,
they were rock
and
stars. I mean, I'm just
they
gonna
were,
put it
you know,
out there. They were rocking.
one,
You
and it
know,
was just like
they thought that they were rock stars. That's the thing,
right,
you know.
and
Yeah.
and we just came from doing so good in Texas. They're like, dude, this pro bracket ain't shit. Like, you know, these guys aren't that much harder than what we played in on the divisionals.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, and they really just didn't get it. And then we went into Vegas, got mollywopped, and you know, and then every year it went from, you know, every game, every tournament after that just went kind of the same way.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, kids showing up late to practice, you know, we have a 3-day practice, and they're like, oh, I can't make it on Friday. You know, I'm like, well, just show up at, like, you know, when can you show up? You know, we'll make practice when you can be there.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, oh, I just can't show up at all. And, you know, you're like, so that's when I got discouraged on the team. I'm like, they're not putting in as much work, because I'm like, we got to put more work in than the best pro team, because we're never going to even able to compete. Right. And they didn't see that. And that was the drawing. So I only played 1 year on LTZ. That was it.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And I think that organization could have been something special. Oh, man, if they would have just applied themselves a little bit more application, and just really dug into it, I think we could still see LTZ out there. Who knows, even to this day, you know.
The bummer is, you know, you see that a lot with teams. Actually, that team had an owner that was willing to give them everything they needed to succeed, you know. And
dude, we had
players didn't take advantage of it.
Yeah, we had a whole trailer with their names on their guns and tanks, and I'm like, what? You know, and they'd be like, you know, oh man, this is not working. They just pull another drawer and get another gun, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, we had an air compressor, we had everything.
They had more sponsorship backing than most of the pro teams at the time. It was crazy. Yeah. It was big dog status over there at LTZ. Right. And I still, like, one of my favorite stylistically, you know, camps that ever played, LTZ is up there, just because they had a really good style about them. Just everything, the way that they played paintball and the way that they, you know, kind of ran together. You know what I'm talking about. It was a cool group of guys to watch play that game.
Yeah, it was fun. And even after that, like, even going, I mean, I don't regret going there. I thought, you know, it was to me, it was such an eye opener, because I was like, you know, man, you know, here it was, like, we started out so well, and then to actually go to where you're like, man, we're playing so well, and then digress so much to what the end of the season was. I'm like, I've never seen, like, you're always going to get better, right? You're always going to get better as a team. And they just got, I mean, you smash your head against the wall enough, you're going to get through it, you know, but you didn't. And I was like, wow, that I didn't understand that. In my head, I could never understand that. But, you know, and then it was like, because even Todd, before I went to LTZ, Todd was like, hey, because he was on Ironman at the time. And same thing, Todd Adamson was like, hey, come over here right now. We really need people. And because at that time, you remember, they were running 2 teams in the 7-man. They were doing the expo. They were doing everything. And, you know, he's like, we really need you. And it, you know, and I just ended up going. I'm like, well, I really want to give them a chance because of this, you know. And it was funny, you know. So, but and then so the next year, I'm like, and then I remember he's like, well, yeah, just come and you're going to try out. And he goes, you'll be fine, you know. And
well, because at the time, I mean, people don't understand, Mike. You're one of the best back players to ever play paintball. What you bring communication-wise, shooting off the break, your awareness, your ability to dictate the game, you know, these are things that are not easy to teach. And you've been playing for a long time. You know how to joystick it. You know how to play the game at the top of the level, which is something that takes a lot of time for paintball players to figure out. So, like, it's no surprise you have Los Angeles Ironmen, one of the biggest organizations in the world at the time, still to this day, that wants you to come on. You went and you experimented with the LTZ, and it could have, who knows, you know, it could have went, you know, and then gave it its time. Yeah.
But, you know, and then I loved, I mean, you know, down deep, I mean, I loved playing for the Ironmen. I mean, you know, that was my team. Like, you know, I would, you know, over all the years when other teams were asking me to go play it, you know, even after when we started, you know, after we won, and then we were still okay and we were doing good. And then, I mean, every year I had opportunities to go play on other teams that were doing better. And I just really liked, I always thought, you know, at the end there, I almost kind of, you know, did it almost towards like the Bushwhacker thing, where it's like, no, like, I can make this better. I can always do better on this team. We just need a certain more people and we could be a winning team, and it's like, and I mean, even times we'd get players back that I'm like, dude, our team on paper is like one of the better teams. Like, why are we not winning, or we're right there, and just things would happen, so it's like, it was really frustrating on that part too. We weren't bad, but we weren't that, that excellent team, that consistent, excellent team that we were from the beginning,
Yeah. Dominating.
Yeah.
Can you kind of give our listeners like an insight onto what, there's a ton of back players out there that want to be the best back player they can be. Can you give them like a little bit of advice on tactics that you've used to, obviously you had a really successful career.
Turn up your gun and overshoot.
The best.
Just kidding, folks. Just kidding.
If you shoot flat across the field, you're gonna shoot someone. It's just how it is.
That's right. Facts. That's big facts right there.
My first thing was always, and I think I learned this from Shane too, was, he gave me the freedom where he would go, where can you shoot someone on the break? And I'm like, and I would always look at the field, we'd practice it. And, and I'm like, well, if I shoot this shot, if they go there, I'm going to kill them every time. Okay, cool. So you knew that, but I'm like, more likely 2 or 3 people run through this gap. So you could shoot 2 or 3 people actually, and I mean, there's a high percentage chance of nicking something through there, and he's like, so, we developed. And I think that was actually my key thing of, what really, and then also too, he would tell me, hey, for us to go to the snake, we need you to just shoot at this back guy this time, or, shoot into this guy, the edger or something else.
Yeah.
So he would actually really dictate more of where we shot and who we shot for, and who, and also he made plans off who we could kill and who we couldn't. And also too, it was nice when, like, I remember one time we played the Russians and we had me and Miko shooting, and we wouldn't even let them get to the first bunker from the back center out.
Yeah.
Like they couldn't even make it there. And also we had injured Billy Wing right behind us going, he's going to the corner. I mean, literally seconds before, and we're like, that's crazy. I can't believe you'd go there.
Yeah. It's so pivotal having that little insight right before the horn goes.
Dude, I remember when Billy was hurt that year at Cup, and you had the 360 stadium there, and he was just standing behind their side and would yell to us where they were going, because it was cool. You're allowed to do that, and I mean, we were playing 5-on-4 almost that entire event.
Project 54.
And it was crazy because, I mean, and something's funny, Marcel, I was actually, I never used to watch game footage. I hated all that shit. But I went back and watched some of like the old games and different shit. Like there was just some shit popped up, and I'm like, oh man, I kind of looked and was watching. I'm like, how the hell were these games even close? Like we'd blow 2-3 people off the break, and then the game would get close. I'm like, I think we were just, it's funny. I was just like, how is these games even in the ballpark right now?
Yeah, no, for real.
It was funny. Yeah, but I mean, that was a good year. It was funny too.
It's a hard job shooting off the break and then getting everybody on the same page. There's a lot going on playing in your position.
Yeah. Well, I remember too. That was one of the years I grabbed Billy Wing's gun because Billy Wing's hurt his knee, so he gives me his gun, and this gun shoots phenomenal. I mean, one of the best guns, and I always had a pretty good shooting gun. This gun was by far.
Of course it does.
Gun.
I still see him doing videos on Facebook.
Yeah.
He's teching the gun with everybody. He's dialing those things in.
So then I remember it was the very next year. It was either the very next year or something. And Marcelo, or maybe it was that first year. One of the years, Marcelo grabs one of my custom made guns that I actually went down and polished myself, right? Because he's like, well, if you want a polished gun, you got it. Well, I'm like, I wanted a matte finish on the front of the gun and then a polished finish on the back. And so he goes, well, you have to come down and polish it. So I went down and polished it, covered in polish. I made 2 of them, right? Well, Billy texts him, Marcelo's gun breaks. I let him use one of my guns. He goes,
oh boy,
what do I have to do to get this gun? And I'm like, and I go, I'll tell you what, you shoot a person every game, you can use it. I go, the second you don't shoot a person a game, I said, I get the gun back. And he goes, deal. So he got one of the guns.
There we go. Shooting good.
Yeah,
real good. I remember that gun shot so good, dude. Yes.
Weren't those the best guns?
Yeah. In all honesty, like I always look back to those years with the dye guns. They were so good. I loved how you could customize the shot pretty much. You know what I mean? You can make them shoot to your liking. I see a lot of players now, they still will try to bring out like the DM7, DM8s because they just worked really well.
Mm-hmm.
And Billy Wing, obviously, I mean, he helped design a lot of those guns. All of his stuff was always prime time. But
crazy.
Yeah.
That was like me. I had Terry Fong. That was my guy.
Oh,
yeah. Terry Fong would always have me dialed in with the Timmy.
I remember that first Timmy I got, that Aftershock Timmy that I shot the one time. And dude, I'm sitting there and I remember I was like, it's shooting, but it's shooting pretty good. I'm like, oh, this gun's not bad. And I remember he looks, he's like, dude, that gun. He's like, give me that gun. So he takes it. I literally hands it back to me. I swear it was like a second later. And the gun is going phenomenally straight and like 80 some balls a second. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Terry knows, dude.
Awesome. Yeah, it was cool.
I love that guy. Shout out to Terry Fong. He's out in NorCal there. We saw him at Capitol Edge recently. He's an icon.
Nice. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Party on, Terry.
Yeah. So Pax, let's get into that. Because again, 2007 and 2008, the Ironmen dominated for 2 straight years. So you were a big part of the direction of that team. You know, as you, Oliver, Shane, Bill. They were honestly, there were a lot. Nikki, there were a lot of head honchos there. But I always felt like you were still, kind of like Yosh is to Dynasty in many ways. You know, you're always like all right, kids, time to stop. All right, here's what let's get back to ground base. What does it take for an organization to dominate a series?
It's funny. It's because I didn't really realize it because I never had it. But I remember going up to teams and and they're like, oh man, we drew you guys again. Like, we're just going to count that as a loss. I mean, that's like 3 days before we're playing them.
Yeah.
They already counted that game gone like they lost it. And I was like, and I never got that because, I mean, it didn't matter who we were playing. I didn't care. I mean, you would ask me today on what draw. I'm like, I don't know who we're playing. There's 5 guys over there with guns. I really don't care.
Yeah.
But
I love that approach. I love that.
Yeah, it was weird. But I mean, they would literally count that game as a loss. So they're like praying that they beat these other teams just to get in. So, I mean, we'd go and play them. And I mean, gosh, it was like they would literally just set their guns down and quit playing. And you're like, I can't believe this is even happening, and I mean, so it just, that to me was always a different thing. And I know on Dynasty, I mean, I know teams that were like, oh man, we got Dynasty. And then after that, we got, Heat, or something like that. And they're like, yeah, those games, we got to keep the score close. So the point margin is not bad. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
Like, man, I go over there and sock him in the mouth right out the rip. Let's try hard out the rip and see what happens. You never know.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And so, but it's funny. So, I mean, to me, I never understood that kind of thing. But, in that area too, I mean, you look at it, I mean, there was very few teams. I mean, it was the Russians and Philly Americans. Those are the only 3 teams that were, there.
That's it.
Yeah.
Those organizations were taking everything at that time.
Yeah.
I feel like was it infamous or excessive? LA Open, they actually beat us in the prelims, and then we beat the Russians in the finals. But I feel like there was a 4th team. But you're right, there was a big gap between those teams and the other teams. It was pretty big.
Yeah, it was, and then remember there was 3 teams or 4 teams, and then there was a big gap to that group, and then the bottom 3 teams was like a huge gap.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like it was like, and so it was real weird. And then that draw would come out, and you would either be like, you were winning all 4, or you barely made it in 2 and 2.
That's right.
It was so. But I remember in LA, it was so funny because I remember looking over, and there was 3 Russians. Remember, it was 3 Russians against me and Nikki. And I remember Oliver freaking out in the pit, having the buzzer in his hand. He goes, you got to do something. I'm going to blow the buzzer. And I'm like, shit, all right, here we go. And I run down all the way down the Doritos, shoot the back center, and then shoot the corner. And then Nikki's running down with, I mean, it looked like a billion hits on him. And the refs running behind him like, no, he's clean. And I'm like, what? You sure you don't want to just hand that to me? Like, I'm good, baby.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my goodness. But it was funny to me because I remember that was the point to take us ahead by 1. And both of us were like, because they didn't want, at first they didn't want Nikki and they weren't sure on how I was going to play in.
Right.
And it was funny, that first event we go to, we're the ones that took them to the next point. But like, even Nicky, he wasn't going to come back out to practice. And I'm like, dude, come back out. Everything's going to work out. Don't worry about it. Just come back out. It'll be fine.
One of my favorite paintball players, Nicky.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Nicky ended up being such a pivotal part of that team, but he's been that guy also. That team was full of just gritty dudes. Everyone just would find a way to win. Nicky inspired Infamous years later, in that he was that same person on Excessive before the Ironmen. I mean, all the guys were, man. You were always the guy. Oliver obviously was that guy. Like the team was full of that mentality for sure.
Right.
Nicky was a pivotal part of that team.
100%.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and it was funny. It was funny how he became real pivotal in it. And it was funny because like in the beginning, I remember he was like, well, I just don't know where I fit in. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I don't understand. I thought we were right here. Everything's good.
Yeah.
But and then he came. Then he felt like, oh, well, then I can do anything, and he was fine. Yeah.
What was it like playing under Shane Pestana? And I know you guys are great friends, obviously to this day. I want to kind of talk about Shane for a minute here and just kind of dig into his story, because we just had him on the show, and it's cool to get your perspective on it. What was it like, just talk to the listeners about Shane, because he's just such a rock star in my mind. And I wish I could convey how amazing he is in paintball, some way, but he's one of the best dudes ever in the paintball game.
Something that's funny is it's amazing because, shoot, I remember like, we'd go to events or we'd be doing something, and he would come up and be like, hey, Shorty's worried about this, or something. He's like, go talk to him about it. So that, even on certain things, like, and that was always my thing, that I was always like, wow,
so caring.
And this guy's worried about this, or this guy's, that. So not only is he telling them that this is okay, then I come over and tell him it's okay. And then, and then he has Billy Wing probably go tell him, something, so it's like, he would always like make everybody feel like, hey, I got your back no matter what. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Like, cause like I would probably go, so like, let's say Shorty's like, oh man, if I get in there and I get shot, what am I going to do here? I'd be like, oh, no big deal. Like, just shoot one guy before you make that jump. And then I'm coming out right behind you. It's all fine, and then he'd be like, oh, okay, cool. So, and then Billy would say, well, don't worry about it. I got it from this side on the Dorito, and you get all these different references of what you're fine about. And then everyone's comfortable, and then, or like sometimes he would just piss me off because he'd go like, oh man, that guy over there, he was saying that, dude, I don't understand why you're even playing on this team.
He's good at that. He's good at
I'm like, that dude's fucking garbage. Like, I'm like, oh wait, I'm gonna blow his skull apart, But he would say that shit like right before a match, or like the one time I remember we broke into a big old fight. We actually were fighting each other. Me and I remember it was me and Johnny are messing around. Well, Shane pushes me into him, just mess around. So I'm like, oh, what? And I go to kick him. Piece of mud hits Nicky in the head. Nicky comes, spears me, and starts punching me. I grab him, throw him across the table. It's like we're about to kill each other right before the thing. And then Shane goes, oh, yeah, Nicky and Mike, you're playing together on that side, right out, first point out the rim. Yeah. I ain't playing with him. Fuck him. I'll shoot him. He goes, fine, shoot him. You win the point, you can shoot him right in the face. Sure enough, we win the point, I turn and go, and blow his goggles off.
No way.
Yeah, and I'm like, fuck it. It is like,
This was right before a point you guys were going at it. Right before a game.
Literally, it was 10 seconds before the 2 minutes.
And then he's like, all right, you guys are good luck out there on the same side.
Have fun with that. You should talk to each other. It'll probably help if you talk to each other.
And you obliterated him after.
The second I see, I remember someone hangs the flag, I turn.
Dude, that's classic.
The best part is you couldn't complain about that stuff on that team either. Like if you were on the receiving end of any sort of, I don't even want to call it hazing, but just, that kind of stuff. You couldn't complain about it. Like if you did, it was just way worse. It got worse. Yeah. You just had to take your licks.
How good were the button noses at the end of practice?
Yeah. Oh man. God, I don't miss those. I don't miss those.
Yes, you do.
I don't miss those one bit.
You were into the circle at the end there. You were
yeah. I know the Mexican standoffs, all that stuff. I was into it, but at this stage in my career, I just, I don't need.
He's grown up a little bit. I would do him right now.
Don't get next to Mike. He'll get you. He's
Explain to the listeners what button nose was.
Well, button nose was, so we tell all the kids, hey, let's paint up. Let's go do a couple drills at the end of practice. We weren't doing drills.
Yeah.
We would load our packs up, get plenty of air, let the kids do drills until they're almost out of paint. Then you'd scream out button nose, and basically you blew them off the field. Like they had to run. We're sitting at the gates waiting, so they had to run past us to get off the field, or like, basically tear through the net to get out. And we're just, well, the tough ones would try to stay and and fight, but like you would motor one down, like, so like, we'd shoot Marcel, and then he's like, all right, and then you'd be like, hey, all right, me and you are on a team now. Let's turn and blow these guys up. And so we'd turn, and then we'd fight everybody else, and then like, Shane would shoot. Like one time we literally trapped Shane in the dugout, and we were blowing him to bits, and he ran and dove through a little gap this big with a pack and a gun. Like, I mean, literally dives through the whole net and everything. We're like, oh, that was pretty good.
Mike's hand said that it was about 6 inches wide.
It was literally that big. I kid you not. He goes, I don't even know how he got through it to this day, but
dude, you guys were having fun, man. There's something to be said about that.
Absolutely.
That's amazing.
I learned really quick that if you just took the licks real quick and early, I would then be on your guys' team.
Yeah, you're on the team right away.
That's right.
Yeah, just shoot back quick. Oh, take it. Oh, all right. I'm on your side.
They just want to know what you're made of, dude. They want to see what who do I got out here? Who's on my team here?
Well, and it was funny because a lot of time in the beginning, I remember Shane said, like, the kids are so scared to get shot.
Yeah.
Well, I'm like, well, just make them do button or Mexican standoff. They get shot 1,000 times right away. It's gonna wear it out of them, or they'll quit. Either one, I don't care.
That's right.
We had to do that. If you got on the team, we had to do that. That was an Ironman.
Do a Mexican standoff, which you'd load your loaders, stand 30 yards apart, and your guns down.
No, 30 feet maybe, Mike. 30 yards. That's a far distance. You're way closer than that.
We were. Hey, it's funny is you see them doing it online, and they're like standing the length of the field, and you're like,
yes.
Are they even hitting each other?
Exactly.
Yeah. Like you would literally. I mean, when you pulled up, it was like, all right, what am I aiming for first?
Exactly.
And you're trying to pull up and shoot. Well, I remember one of the practice. It was someone called out Oliver. It was one of the kids called out Oliver because I think it was Ronnie. Ronnie calls out Oliver.
Philippone?
Oh, dude, it might have been Ronnie. Yeah, I think you're
Ronnie
right.
calls out Oliver and fully like motors him the first time. Yeah. And Oliver's
this
pissed.
is Philippone, right? Ronnie Philippone?
Yeah. And so I remember he's like, let's do it again. And I'm like, yeah, let's run it again.
Oh boy.
And I remember, so then they do it again, and Ronnie wears them out again. And now it's like the next thing is blows. And so like we're dragging him off the field, and Ronnie's just dancing around him. It was the best part of the whole time.
Yep.
But then Ronnie
was a savage, dude. It's a shame he didn't stick in the game.
Yeah.
He was a tough kid. Grew up with him on Aftermath, and he was also like a gritty just winner,
Yeah.
Reach out to him. I wonder how he's doing.
Dude. We gotta see how Ronnie's doing. I haven't heard from him in a while.
But awesome. And then after that, remember we made all the kids do Mexican standoff, and the kids could pick their partner. It didn't matter who it was. Like, hey, you can pick anybody you want, and so all the kids had to pick a partner and do a Mexican standoff right there that day before practice.
They're like, Mike, I choose you.
I forget who chose me. Someone piped up right away. I was like, I want Mike. I'm like, oh god, here we go. Yeah. Here we go.
So what did Pastana think about all this?
Oh, he loved it. He was like, let's run it again. And they're like, no.
Yeah.
Remember Mouse was like, I'll quit before I do it. And he ran out in the car, and we had to bring him out, talk him into it. And then he did someone was so nice to him about it. I think it was Shane. It was like so nice, like, I'll do it against you. And like Shane's like barely shooting him at his feet and shit. And he's like, ah! I'm like, oh my God. It was so funny. I
love that.
Mouse.
And then Billy talked in Crunchy, because Crunchy was like freaking out about it, remember?
Yeah, Crunchy was so dramatic, dude.
Yeah.
With everything.
And then Billy wears Crunchy out. I mean, just wears him out.
Hey, but once it was over, it was over. And then like getting shot just it's not even a thing anymore.
Not even a big deal.
Well, I think it's even worse today. I think that there are a lot of players that like cringe up a little, and they're scared to get shot really good, and you just didn't have that scaredness after playing against people like you or getting out there, especially with the way the guns were at the time too. It was, you were getting pelted up, and you were pelting up other people too, but that's just the way it was. It was a different time. But it does hurt.
Outside of paintball was a different time too. We were all brought up in a little bit different of an era than than what's going on now. And I mean, just call it what it is, you know. Kids are pretty protected these days.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about
For better
it?
or worse?
Like I came straight from football, you know, coaches and stuff. I mean, you know, grab you by the face mask, hit you with keys on top of your head. You're like,
football was something else at that time.
Oh man, it was insane. I mean, it was like, you know, I mean, you know, and then to have like Shane yell at you, you know, you're like, okay, like, all right, sounds like a great idea. I'm sorry, my bad. My other favorite story was Marcelo and Mouse always used to be head and head, attack each other, wanting to kill each other, right? And I always used to think it's funny because I'd prod them like, yeah, you guys should fight, fucking kill him.
Yeah.
So they're going on, and I can't remember how it went down exactly, but
I can remember tell you to a
T. I remember we were at the ranch, and they were both on the Dorito side, and I'm thinking it was Marcelo beat Mouse, shot Mouse out. Mouse goes out. Mouse starts talking shit. Marcelo goes down to the next, no, but it was serious between those two at the time. And Marcelo goes down and he's like, I can't remember what he said, but he said something really good. It was like, watch me shoot the rest of your team, bitch, or some bullshit.
Yeah.
And Mouse comes unglued and started shooting you, right?
Yeah.
Starts shooting him. Well, Marcelo collapses, right? Billy Wings sees it and is standing an inch away from Mouse behind him and shoots him in the back of the head, like right in the back of the skull. And drops him. So now there's two kids laying on the ground, and I'm dying laughing, right? I'm like, I can't believe that just happened, right? And so then I remember Billy's like, this is bullshit. Then I'm like, we should have them fight in the arena right now to solve it. And they're like, and then they're like, no. But it was. But
I thought you were talking about the other time at the ranch where Mouse tried to run me down. I shot him. I tuck in. He keeps coming, shoots me still, and we actually did fight. And then you guys suspended me for a match at the next event. Yes.
I was against that. I said they should go in the arena and figure it out for life. But
Mike had nothing to do with you being suspended.
I thought that was great. I was like, dude, that's what we should do. But remember, then the next rule was if anybody fought on the team, we had to go to the grass and fight against me and Nikki, it didn't matter who it was.
Oh boy.
That was the new rule. It's like, hey,
Dude,
but
come meet your maker, man.
But that was like the very next practice right after it, right? I think
it was all in a close look. Me and Mouse grew up together, right? And we were always, to this day, we just have competition with each other. We're some of the best friends ever. You know, that is my boy, and got nothing but respect for him. But when we get on that paintball field, it's like, it's always competition. It's always going to be that way too, you know? And I think that's probably how sports are with any sort of real competitor. If you grow up in a game with somebody, like you're constantly at each other's, you know, heels or at their throat. And so, you know, in many ways, I was just blown away that you guys, after everything that you guys had quote unquote taught me, you then suspend me for standing up for myself.
Not my vote.
I forgot what tournament it was too, but then I think we lost the match, and I was like,
I think it was because you were playing bad that event. So we're like, we'll just sit them.
Oh, it was the first game of the event. It was the first game.
I think it was bad in practice or something. I can't remember.
It was something like that.
That was never my vote. Dude, hey, remember when we did the one-on-ones at San Diego? My first vote was you for one-on-one. Yeah. They were like, well, who do you think should go to the thing? And they're like, if you don't vote yourself, I'm like, I go Marcel for sure. And then they're like, well, who else? I'm like, I go probably just on cloud alone. I said I would just pick Oliver just because they think he's scary for a one-on-one. I don't think he's that. I didn't think at that time he was as good as, you know, at any time he could win a one-on-one. You know, it didn't matter. But just his overall scariness of, it's Oliver. You know, they would fucking.
It was against Impact. That was to win the series. There was overtime, best of 3, 7-on-7. That went into overtime, one-on-ones. Got played at that San Diego event. Yeah, that was.
I was so glad you guys won yours. I didn't have to go out. I was like, oh my gosh, it was raining. I even told you, I'm like, Marcel, please don't. I don't want to play. I was so happy. I was like, I'm like, dude, I got my gun. It's all wet. Totally. This is gonna suck.
He came through in the clutch.
Oh, dude, it was so scary too because I thought he lost him. And then remember you jumped over the top and shot him. I was like, oh
yeah. I was in this like center Dorito. I remember it was Zach Yakimak actually.
Yeah.
Going back and looking, I was like, damn, yeah. Yeah, they've come a long way, huh?
Yeah.
Those guys have come a long way for sure.
Yeah, remember the 7-man days with Impact?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
absolutely.
For sure.
Well, I mean, they were just because that was for first and second. I mean, they were just as good as they are now. It's just they got other dynamics in their thing to go, But
they've been in the running for a long time now, for sure.
Yeah. Totally.
That was weird how that whole thing went down. Hey, let's just share first place. I'm like, motherfucker, I don't share.
We were in Kansas City for like 4 hours waiting for the league to decide what they were gonna do with that overtime because I forgot what happened, but what happened in that third game?
It really went down bad. But but remember all the shit went down and I'm like, I don't care what you guys say. I literally shoot the guy, he spins on me. The ref saying he spun on me. And I'm like, and I'm still alive in their corner. Game's over. We win. You lose. Go the fuck home. And they were like, no, that's not what happened. I'm like, and the ref's like, no, that guy spun on him. Like I'm like, I didn't have a hit on me, bitch. And they're like, and then all like they're like, no. And then all of a sudden it totally got turned around. And they're like, yeah, that game was a draw.
Right.
What?
And now you're gonna split first place.
And now you're gonna split first place. I'm like, hey, no way. Forget all that nonsense.
No way.
Well, because we wanted to play one-on-ones right away.
Yeah,
we were ready to play one-on-ones right away there in Kansas City, and and then
you were playing good. We were playing good, and I was like, oh man, we're gonna wear you kids out. And
Mouse had a really good tournament there, playing in the center. I remember that. Yeah, he was playing that car wash, and it was like he had just gotten a little tall enough to where you can come over the top of him. But I remember he played really good there.
Well, remember it was him and Oliver would go up there. And then he would dive out to that little tent at the 50 on the other on the side.
Yeah, that's right.
And out of the center 50, and you're like, what the hell? And that's where you'd go and go over. Yeah. And then I'd run to the dark side over there in the fucking dark moon and over in the dark zone.
This was too, it was an indoor arena. And they had that mega jumbotron right above you. So Oliver, they ended up turning it off towards the finals because they realized players were cheating. Yeah. But Oliver would sit in that center and look up and see the game live on the big screen, so he could see where the other players are looking, and then he would just run through.
he would literally call out all the positions and then just run through. And I'm like, perfect. Well, here they all are. Yeah, that was funny.
It was.
Hey, work smarter, not harder, huh?
100%.
Yeah. He's always looking for that edge.
Yeah, that was a good event. That was fun.
Those were fun times, dude. I do remember in 2006, you guys didn't let me play on the first 7-man team, so you guys put me on the second 7-man team, which was the Nexus team. You weren't there. Oh, that's right.
I didn't play. Right. Remember?
That's right. Yeah. So hold on, because you were on the team that we beat. So maybe it was in 2007. I didn't start the year playing on the first 7-man team, and towards the end I did, because I was like, I took it real personal. And one of the first events, maybe it was 06, but we beat you guys, and I was like,
super stoked
about that. You know, the second team was like,
beat us.
Damn, I wonder. My memory is fading on that. I wonder if it was 06 or 07, because I swear it was 07.
No,
but I thought I played with you guys the whole. Yeah, I thought
whenever you were on the team with me, you played with us for 7.
You're right.
I don't remember not playing with us.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay, yeah, it must have been 06, and you weren't there.
No.
My memory's getting
time travel.
Well, because I remember you guys were playing because at the end of that one year, I don't know if you were still playing with them or not, because I was playing on as the men that one time.
That was 06, wasn't it?
That was 06, right? Yeah.
Right.
05 or 06. I can't remember. I think it was 05, and we played as the men, and you were playing. I thought that time is when you were playing with Nexus.
No, 05 I was with Aftermath. That was my first season.
Okay.
Yeah, 06 is when I got picked up from the Ironmen. And 07 is when I got pulled up. So
Hey Mike, when did you stop playing tournament paintball, and what year?
Like 3 years ago,
18,
like
wasn't it?
18? Yeah, the last year was Shock, I played 1 year with Shock after that,
And which organization were you with for the longest amount of time? Was it the Ironmen?
Yeah.
For sure,
Yep.
Okay. So you got on Ironman and stayed with them for how many seasons were you with Ironman?
Oh shit. So on at 06 and on at the end of 06, 07. So then all the way to 2017. So 10 years.
Wow. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Damn. There's not many players that that do that, And once you find your home, it's easy.
Yeah. It's Yeah, that's the thing too, is it's just like, even during the rough times, I mean, we were still like, that was the thing, is it's never like we weren't competing. Like it was just like we were always just like one or 2 points away from doing well, and you're
That's
like,
right.
damn, so it's always hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And dude, you're talking to some guys who can relate with you on that.
Yeah.
We've been in the same ship, and even like we just won World Cup, but prior to that, we hadn't won shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
right.
and it had been a couple years, but I think the key is that you stay together, you stay with your dudes, you keep or you're girls on the team. I hope we get more girls in the pros, and you
shout out to female paintball players. We're talking to Mike Paxson. His wife B Paxson is a pioneer, the pioneer for women paintball players, and I can't wait to have a show with B, because everything she's done for the sport is just unmatched, truly. So
well, she played on the whack. We were short a player, and she played on the Whackers with us at a pro event in Europe.
Yeah.
And it was awesome.
Kicked
it was
ass.
So funny. Yeah, I remember like we beat like a few pro teams. I remember like some of the European pro teams were like, "That's a girl," like and I'm like,
damn.
But her communication was better than mine. You could hear her everywhere. It was funny. Yeah.
I love B so much, dude. What an amazing woman she is. And you guys have been together for how many years now? You guys have been together forever.
Yeah, we've been together. What are we on now? Yeah, so we're on 20 years.
Don't mess this up.
Yeah,
I know.
Hey, don't mess this up.
She's gonna listen.
I don't got all the fingers for this one. Once it gets past 10, you're like,
a pioneer. She is a pioneer for women paintball players, and we absolutely love her. Can't wait to get her on the show.
Yeah, and Mike, you guys have together, I feel like you guys have done a lot of stuff that we want to talk about outside of just playing and competing. I remember you had something, I think, out in Florida. Was it called the Paintball School? I don't remember what it was, but you've done so much with helping young players kind of work their way up through the ranks. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Well, so like we first started doing the Ron Stern camps, and that's when it started. So it was like Rocky Cadgoni, B, me, one of the Call brothers, and who else was it? And there was one other person, I can't remember, but we would teach like a week-long thing, and and we kind of felt like we're like, man, this is awesome, like man, these kids really did it all, but man, that week of it was like a summer camp was just too much. Like kids got freaking they have medicines, they have bedtimes, you're dealing with so much. I'm like, there's no way we can do that, but we wanted to tailor it down and just do a week camp and do the stuff. So that's when we started doing paintball schools, and it was awesome. Like so it was pretty much we could go to a park and they would get the other kids, and that was when it was awesome. We used to have some of the best times going around, and we did that for years doing paintball schools.
And that was out there in Florida.
It was all around. We did them everywhere.
Wow,
all around the world. Yeah, it was cool.
No way.
We did them down in Australia. We did them everywhere. It was a lot of fun.
Amazing.
Yeah, I remember the branding for that was really good. It was really professiontional. It's kind of like what BKI is doing now.
Right.
It kind of felt like that. You guys had a big camp. A lot of people that appreciated what you guys were doing and would hope for you to come to their city.
Well, and that was the cool thing, is we kind of limited where we were told was, we only did 30 kids. That was the max we could do, because my thing was, you do more than that, people just get lost in the woodwork.
Yeah.
There's kids just sitting on the side, doing nothing. They're not getting their money's value out of it, because like we did one, and I think we had like 100 kids, and I'm like,
there's no way.
You can't manage all these, and these kids aren't learning anything. And I'm like, I'm never one. I'm just going to take your money and be like, oh, well, here, play 5-on-5s over here in the corner. It's like, I wanted to run them and get them going the whole time and keep it, really keep it going. So that was the thing, is our camps were limited to 30 kids. The field that hosted the thing made all the money. We took, we're like, hey, once you get your 30 kids, this is the cut we get out of it. Everything else you make. So the field made all their money. Yeah. So it wasn't like, that was the nice thing about it, was it wasn't like we were trying to like, just rake these kids over the coals to get their money. It was like, dude, everybody got their thing out. Everybody got the cuts. That's why they went so well,
Yeah, of course.
We did so many, but it was fun. It was good.
Well, we've taken some pages out of your book with the PTG Pro School. That's what me and Marcelo have been running around teaching at these PTG Pro Schools. And we do the same thing where we, we limit it to typically it's like 40 players max, because we can both manage about 20 each and then swap, and then he'll take the other 20 and we'll run them through a gambit of things. But you're right. You want to make sure they get that quality. That's what it's all about.
Right. Yeah. And you know, and then also too, it's like, you know, we had, I mean, at one, when it was really going well, like we had sponsors giving away prizes. So like, we would do, you know, every day we'd have like either some kind of, you know, drill thing that they were trying to win to, you know, win the prize, or like, you know, like we do the same, like, hey, you know, and the first kid over to the, you know, the circle won a prize. You know, it was just, it was cool. And like, you know, and that was always the thing I thought was, it was just so nice to, you know, get these kids, and now we see some of the kids that we've taught and they're playing on, you know, pro teams, and you're like, that's awesome, you know? Yeah. So
full circle. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I enjoyed too. We'd have a lot of times where, you know, people would contact me and they're like, hey, we want to do one of your clinics, but we just want to do it for our team. And we're like, okay. And we just go out there and do a weekend, just, you know, fine tuning their team, you know?
That's right.
And so that was fun too. So, I mean, we did a lot of different stuff that was just, you know, amazing for what we did, you know?
And a lot of the training, I think, is the mentality as well that you provide, right? Like you teach people, and we all sitting here teach people how to process the game, how to think about the game. Because I could tell you how to do a drill till you're blue in the face and you might be able to hit that cone 1,000 times, but it's all about how you process the information and play the actual game of paintball. You know, that's a huge thing to learn. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, and it's funny too, because you get them where, you know, they're so young and they're like thinking like, okay, well, you know, and they don't understand it. And then, you know, you break it down to them simple and they're like, so all I got to do is just go bunker that guy and the game's over. Game's over. This game's over. You just run and bunker that guy. Game's over.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I can do that. You know,
that's right.
A big thing too is teaching them how to practice. You know, when you do private gigs with teams, that's like the number one thing is I've realized, wow, they really have no idea how to structure a practice, you know? It's something that we take for granted because we've kind of had that structure much more than we haven't had it, you know?
Right. Well, even just having to, you know, people just want to know how, like, they break down fields of practice.
Right.
You know, like, remember, like, you know, Shane would do, we play this half of the field, play that half of the field, you know, do the 2-on-1s versus, you know, trying to break down the side, you know? And then they're like, oh, that's awesome. You know, it's like, you know.
Exactly. We use that. We use the half the field drills at every single clinic. We use that. It's kind of like a race to the 50 drill, the old school traditional drill. And it's the one staple that I go back and, you know, Tyler and I will go to the same places, you know, and we have the same people come out, and we'll do that drill every single time, no matter what, because there's always something to be learned from that drill. Cause it encompasses like every aspect of the game, every position, you know, it's such a valuable one. So I mean, 100% use that all the time.
Yeah, all these drills, like we've picked up so many different styles of drills from all these different players and places, and you always got a new guy who's like, hey, I got a drill, and then you just, you know, you implement them, see what works, what doesn't, people have fun.
my favorite drill I always used to do, and it was so funny, like I didn't like it as much, but like the kids, like every time would ask for it, is the pump drill. So I had a pump gun, I'd bring a pump gun, and what happened was I could move from one of the back 3 bunkers, right? And you had to come and touch one of the back 3 bunkers.
Oh, whoa.
But when I moved from bunker to bunker, they could run. I couldn't shoot when I moved from bunker to bunker. So they're watching, and, you know, they're going, and I'm trying to shoot them. And then as soon as I take off, they would take off, you know? So that like kind of gives them like, you know, as soon as they see, or if I'm looking the other way, they would try to run, you know, and it just got them frequently moving. One right there. Yeah. It was so good because so many kids, you know, they go to the 50 and they can't move past that. Or they go to their first bunker and they don't want to move, you know, and then if you get shot, you got to go back and start again. So they were just keep filtering through, you know, and it was funny because I'm dripping sweat, running from side to side going, and, you know, I'm really trying to shoot them, but I mean, dude, they're like, let's do it again. I'm like, oh man, I hate this.
No.
I'm sweating over here. I just want to watch you guys run around.
That's a good one. I like
that. They really liked it. And, you know, it wasn't like they were getting shot at a lot, you know, but like, you know, you get them to where, you know, all of a sudden they peek up at the wrong time. You're already aiming at you shoot them in the goggles, like, whoa, you know, it's like, you know, so it was fun, but that was like a really fun drill that they always loved doing, you know.
Yeah. There's nothing better than that sound when that paintball just claps the goggles, you know. You're like, there we go. Got one.
Yeah, rack me up a winner.
It is a pretty nice sound, not gonna lie.
Not
when it happens to you, though.
Yeah.
No. But I'll tell you what, that is like the you know, the drug of the sport, I would say, is you watching that ball leave your barrel and go hit someone's goggles.
Yeah.
It's like, so I just took out BB what was that, last year, I think, or yeah, it was last year. And we went to we go to a church thing that we play, and
How
they
old?
set up
How old?
She, what is she? So she was 9.
There we go.
At the time.
Awesome.
And, so she just got her gun, and it's so funny, but, she's same thing. She's like, oh my gosh, I just shot that guy in the goggles. They're hooked, right? They're done. That's it. That ball left that barrel. She watched it the whole way go and hit the kid in the face. It's over.
Dude, that's Pax. That's why, like, we talk about this so much on the show. That's why I wish we had good footage like that to show on Go Sports, right? Yeah. Get rid of split deck so you could have that 2 minutes in between so that you can have slow motion of that shot, the ball leaving the barrel, going and hitting someone in the goggles, or even if it's like just nicking someone who's barely exposing themselves. That in slow motion shows anybody. They don't have to understand paintball. They go, "Oh my god, that was sweet."
Well, you even if you remember back when when they were first trying to film it back in the NXL days, and they were going
the original NXL days before the
original. Yes.
Yeah.
And I remember when Dick Clark's out there and he's asking like, "What do you think?" And I'm like, "Well, you guys are filming it all wrong. Like, you're filming it side to side. You can't see anything. Literally, it looks like you guys are playing water gun fights and no one can even see them. I go, you got to get behind the player where you see those balls go." And we still don't do it to this day. And I'm like,
that's right.
Barely you see any footage of when they're like really, they slow it down. You see those balls flying. It looks awesome,
It does.
Absolutely.
Yeah. HK Army's Quitman. Shout out to Quitman. He's their videographer. He's got some spectacular footage that he just released with
he risks it all. He doesn't care how much he gets shot, dude. He gets the shot. You're right.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, and that's the hard part too, is where they're supposed to be filmed from is where you're gonna get smoked. That was the thing when they first started doing it. I'm like, you guys, like, realistically, like back then when they had tons of money to do this shit, I'm like, you guys need booms to be moving behind the players.
That's right.
Like on a boom where they could go behind anybody, and then when shit gets bad, you just lift the boom up.
Totally.
Yeah, for real. I think that I'm sure that there's a formula that somebody's got in their back pocket that is the way that it'll be. But right now we are so grateful for what we have, because even just being able to see it on my phone. I go to a tournament and I could be, on my way back to my hotel watching a game that I need to be watching and not have to, and I still do like to watch at the field because you get a better feel for how it's going. But it's just amazing that, we have the phones now with it.
I couldn't agree more, Ty. I mean, I'm always going to talk about how we could make anything better. Whether it's myself, my friends, whatever it is, I'm going to always have those discussions. But I have 2 subscriptions to Go Sports. I watch all the games. I love it. I have one to give out to my friends and family, and I have one just for myself. I love that we do have it. And certainly if we could get some more funding in the sport, I'm sure that Maddie, Cena, those guys are smart. They know that those are the shots, they just need the funding to do it.
That's right.
So it's not throwing any shade at all. It's just dude, I want to see paintball as big as can be, just like everybody does. Every paintball player wants to see it as big as it can be.
I'm with you, Mike. It has to be on the camera, and we need mics too. To at least 1 or 2 players needs to have some audio, because that's the other part of the game that's so important.
On the barrel, the camera has to be on the barrel, right, Ty?
That's right. On the barrel.
Yeah, totally.
Well, and that footage is awesome, because that is some of the best, especially for like when you're bunkering people. I mean, how great are those footage when they go bunkering people and all stuff?
That's right.
For sure.
That's the best.
But I mean, the footage is great that they have right now. I mean, it is. It's like light years before what we used to do, and all that.
That's right.
That's awesome.
And I think that it's going to come. Like, they're going to, these little details, they're really not that far off. And we can get the camera on the barrel. And then, like I said, we need a couple people to have a microphone so we can hear the audio too, because it's so,
Well, before we do that, we have to get rid of some of these codes. Mike, we've been talking about that. We got to get rid of the God code, probably, for sure. So it's funny. Tyler and I, before World Cup, and so sorry to the listeners that have heard this 10 times already, but we're going to tell you too. We're going to keep talking about this as well. We were in 7-Eleven and there was a line and we were talking about the layout, and Tyler's like, I think the God's really shootable.
Yeah.
And I just like froze, and I'm like, whoa. And I look around and people are like, what?
What are you talking about?
Yeah. So we probably got to change some of the terminology we use, and especially if we're gonna mic players up,
Totally.
Yeah.
I think
Package it. We got to package it the best. Like my whole thing is it's got to be packaged proper to sell.
Well, no, just right when it comes out, you just give them the codes so they know like what you're talking about. So they're like, oh, that's what he's saying. I got you.
Have a universal code system and then or something like that.
Yeah. It's not like we don't know what everybody's codes are anyways.
Right? I know, huh? Yeah, we've been doing a good job.
Yeah, come on, everyone knows.
It's all about all the little detail codes, the ones that like, everybody's got kind of the same bunker codes, but it's all these little detail codes that you use to kind of trick the opponent or help your guy on your team make a good decision. All those little codes are the most important for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
it's a
awesome,
science.
man.
It's a science out there for sure.
It is, man.
Crunching numbers.
So Pax, are you besides playing 10-mans, are you completely out of paintball right now, or what are you doing? Are you working with anyone? You still doing stuff? I can't imagine you've pulled your tentacles completely out.
No, it's funny. Yeah, it's like so we won the mechanical in Vegas. I like playing the mechanical. It's kind of fun. It's definitely good. I was playing the 3-man, and then we should have won that, but I didn't. We couldn't play both at the same time, so we pulled out of that. But we have a local 3-man up here that's open. That's kind of fun to go play. It's a really good time.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I know. It's like so that's fun.
That's amazing.
It's hard because there's really nowhere to go play to where it's really going to be competitive and all this stuff. I mean, the local 3-man's a lot of fun. It's competitive, and then
that's inspiring. That's inspiring to me that you're still like, because someday I'm gonna, I'll stop playing as well, and by God, I hope that I can play some tournaments with my local community and have some fun out there, and that's inspiring for me. That's awesome. I love that.
Right.
Hell yeah.
It's fun too because like there's a lot of kids that are out there wanting to like just play and learn and. So it's fun to go play against them, and it's kind of cool because it's like old paintball, I guess. Because the rookies play against the open teams, and the open teams play. So you play, but like how they're formatted is if a rookie team or a divisional team beats one of the open teams, they get like 180 points or 200 points, like almost a double. So it's like always really for them to beat one of those teams. It's like a big point jump for them. So it's kind of cool, It's like it adds a little extra to it. And in 3-man, things happen real fast anyways.
Totally.
I've always loved 3-man, so it's kind of cool.
My favorite. I love 3-man.
I always thought we should do a X-ball format 3-man.
Yeah.
You only allowed 5 players, so someone's always turning, and it's like points run up like basketball. Like you have to play, and then so then we're really athletes. We're not just like players.
I like that. I do. I like that. Yeah.
Why have I never heard about this idea? That's a great idea. That's a great idea.
From day one, because the more points you play, the less the refs have involvement in it. All the stuff. You can mess up. You can try shit like, oh man, let's run to their side of the field and see if we can, get a quick point. Oh man, let's try to get a couple quick points because we're down behind. Now it's like you score 3 points. Like, all right, lock it up, boys. Let's keep that lead down. And then it's just a slow game. And that was the one thing I got discouraged. I think on at the last end of my thing was, I shot 9 pods through a gap no one ever ran through, and we lost the game. Yeah. And I'm like, boy,
dude, I think they changed the whole style as soon as you left because the last couple of years have been insane.
I know. Meter was like, hey, you gotta watch this game. It was crazy. I'm like, I'm not watching a game of paintball. You're crazy. He's like, no, you gotta watch it. And it was like people running and bunkering. So I'm like, now wait a minute. I leave for one damn event, and now you guys are running and bunkering each other. Before you guys played patty cake the whole time.
I know.
It's the new fields, Mike. There's so many big bunkers, like you can't really hold down lanes anymore. There's some little spots that you
there's like couple. You get a couple. That's it. Yeah.
Well, even like that. Yeah, even like that Vegas layout, I liked it. It was, it was like, the snake was long. It was all great. I was like, man, this is a cool field, for me, I was like going, I was like not seeing fields until you got there. Like, I think that would be another one. Super first thing.
You hear that? You hear that, Marcelo?
I do.
Yeah. you get right there and you're like, oh my goodness, well, man, someone better, the curve of learning is going to be real quick here,
Yeah.
But
actually, this is funny that you bring this up, Mike, because Marcelo and Eric Crandall were going at it for like 15 minutes on the show about this. And there's something. So you were just saying about showing up, not seeing the field. What do you think it does to the paintball game for you?
Well, you think about it. So how many times did you run to that first bunker you ran to before you got to the event? 30, 40 times?
Yeah.
30, 40 times, at least to the first one where you're like, I know I'm safe here. I can run and shoot here, or I can run here, or whatever. You knew exactly where you could pretty much get to if someone didn't do something tricky, and you'd make it every single time. Well, now, wait a minute. We go to an event, you're like, oh, shit, I think I could make it there. Well, or I could definitely go to that corner. First 3 games, you get smoked wagon going to the corner. So it's like, because I mean, that's the thing I love. Like when we go to the 10-man, you're like, oh, let's see here. Yeah, you could definitely make it there. Or shit, why not run all the way up there? Screw it, you get shot. We'll figure it out next game. It's something that no one knows. They're like, or like, okay, well, you're going to make it there because I'm going to stand out and try to shoot for you. Well, if you get shot, well, at least I'm shooting a bad guy. There's but no one knows. Like I didn't run that snake 100 times ago. Yeah, I can't make that.
And then as the tournament progresses, it starts to catch the gear, and I see.
Right. But I mean, you think about it, like, I mean, that's how
I'm kind of with you, Marcelo. I kind of like buttoning it all out before and
just to catch Mike up real quick, I've had this discussion with Eric Crandall for a while, and then we got into a little bit of a heated discussion on the show. I'm obviously, I understand.
Did you knock over your mic, or was it that heated?
No, wait, it wasn't that heated.
Oh, no. Okay, all right.
Knock over the mic, throw my goggles, I'm out of here.
Yeah,
toss the gun. No, I understand that it could potentially be more fun. I understand wanting to make the games more exciting. I feel 2 things. I feel that the new layouts have already done that. You could play these layouts as much as you want, and they don't slow down. Look at the finals, which the finals are always when it should be the slowest. The last 2 years, the finals have all been high scoring. 7, 6, 8.
Yeah.
They've all been high scoring. Sunday games are pretty much all high scoring. So they've already eliminated that. So my argument is 2-sided. It's one, it gives a sense of professionalism to the game to where you have a couple weeks that these local fields can count on having a layout. They know that they're going to get an influx of tournament players out there.
So I'm going to interrupt. We talked about this a long time.
Okay.
So now think about this as if you're a divisional team. If you're a divisional team, you're really trying to get good. You have to play the 2 weekends before the event, then go spend $1.5 grand to this event.
Well,
that's a big commitment, right?
Hold on. So now we're talking about 2 different things. I would be, again, one of my biggest arguments was I feel that for professional paintball, you should show up and have the most elite version of a team. So you're seeing the most skilled version. You're taking out the guesswork and the luck. Right. And there's some experience in it. I would be totally okay with divisional players not having a layout. I would be totally cool with that.
Well, no, see, I went the reverse route. My argument.
I just want to say sorry, first of all, for opening this can of worms.
Yes, I know.
What I will say is I had quite a few people message me and agree with me on this. Shout out to the PTG fam on here.
Hey, let's go.
So this was my argument from the top was, if I was a divisional team, I have to play the 2 weekends before an event. Have to play those, practice. I mean, if you were a bit serious divisional team, play the 2 weekends before. So that's 2 weekends out of your thing. And then you go and spend $1,500 at this tournament. Now think about all that time you spent, right? Now, what happens if when my thing was, what I proposed was we should never have a layout. We should always, or the pro team should never have a layout. That's a separate layout that comes at that tournament. Now, that layout is the layout for all the divisional teams for the next tournament. Now, what does that do? One, brings everybody to the stands to watch people play, right? Because if I was a divisional team, like, what are the pros doing? Because we're going to play that one next to him. Also, too, that opens up the second we leave there, we can play anytime we want all the way up to the tournament. and take the weekend off before the tournament and not break the bank and maybe get some more teams into the events.
It brings more people to Go Sports. It brings more people to everything, like all the divisional teams.
100%.
But again, I think you could have both. You could release a layout 2 weeks before for the pros, and then when you show up to the event, you're getting like the best of the best. You know,
I like
and that's,
that.
Like professional paintball to me is always like, as any sport, I want to watch the best of the best. You know, I know for me, it doesn't, and maybe it's unique to my style, so I'm biased, but the more time that I have on a field, I don't lock it down more. I figure out, oh dude, I can make this cool move. I think there's more creative moves that get done from the really intelligent players because they figure out like how to break apart the game.
I've always felt like the best, or like the most sneaky moves that I ever do, or like the I don't know, the better I play is like the first 2 weekends of the layout, because people haven't learned the layout yet, and you mollywop all the kids. Yeah. Like you literally eat them up because they're like, well, wait, I didn't know I could, where's that guy? And you're like, you know, you're blind shooting them. They're like, oh my gosh, that comes in from there. They don't learn that. But if you did that during the tournament, like when we used to play 7-mans, you would eat like, hey, I can run to this corner and shoot the opposite corner, you know, no problem. And he never knows it's coming in. You know, it's like, you know, that element was gone. And that's what I always used to love, was like, you know, the first couple games, we just eat people apart because they haven't learned the field yet. Then they start to catch up. And all I think that does is it separates the good players from the bad players, or not bad players, the players that don't catch.
No, you're right. You're right. The less experienced players, the bad players in the league, they would have a tougher time for sure. What I think you would kind of run into an adverse effect as well is if, like, the teams with the most money, the pro teams, if there was no layout, they would play every weekend, whereas some of the other teams just simply can't, you know? And so the intention is to make it cheaper for teams, but it would maybe in turn make it more expensive as well by not having a layout, you know? And so it's a complicated one. The 2 weeks leading up to events, everybody.
I like what we came up with, though. I like what we finally came up with, where you're saying like what you guys both said there.
That's a conversation that's been had for a long time, right? Having the divisional players play the following event on the field that the pros were just on, because it would force them to watch, you know, unless you don't want to get the advantage, but like,
how that all came up was because they asked me, how do we get more people in the stands? I said, we'll just make our layout their layout for the next event. I go, they're going to come watch. They have to.
I like that. Yeah. That's a good idea. Hey, what I got to know, what is your favorite paintball gun of all time? You've shot so many different paintball guns. You have these nostalgic paintball guns. Which one is your favorite gun of all time?
I got two. I have one of the original DMs that I got. Oh, I mean, I have a Aftershock DM4 that I still have. Yeah, that gun shoots phenomenal. I have an LTZ gun that I still have.
No way.
Awesome. I got them all right here in the closet. And then I have a M2, one of my green fade to black. Yeah, that gun I still play with. That's the gun I play with just for like going out and play tournaments. It shoots still to this day better than 90% of the guns. It's crazy. Yeah. And then I have a lot of the cockers that Danny's made for me. Yeah. I got one right now that's just, just phenomenal. It's, you know, and
those are nasty, dude. Those are so sick.
So smooth. And it's he's got that dialed down now, you know.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, those are some of my favorites. I mean,
I love that.
It's fun. Yeah, it's funny. The kid had one of the DM, and it still has the cheater board in it, of course. I forgot that it had it in it. And she goes out there, and because I showed it to him, like we're in the backyard, like, you know, I go, you hold down the trigger, you let it go, pull it back down. Just as soon as you let it go, it just rips, you know. And she's like, oh, okay, cool. You know, because I'm like, oh, this would be cool to show her. Well, I didn't even think about it, but here we are playing at the church thing. She turns, and I hear the zzz. I'm like, what is that? Oh my gosh. And it has a rotor on it, and it literally emptied the loader in a second. Yeah. And there's like 12 kids walking over there like, oh no. I'm like, give me the gun. And you can't use that gun no more. You got to use that other gun. She's like, no, that gun shoots amazing. I'm like, yeah, I know that. Did you? Yeah. I heard it. I could hear it.
Yeah. It's like a rope. It's a rope of paint that comes out of there.
And that rotor feeds so much faster than our other guns, our other rotors.
Mike, you better be careful. They're going to come back and take away some of those medals.
Oh, I know.
It's like a doping scandal.
Hey, come to the house. Come to the house. We'll see how well you do.
Good luck. Yeah.
Yeah, good luck. Good luck. I'll leave them in a box on the driveway. Don't worry about it.
Come on down.
I love it.
Yeah, come on down. But oh my gosh, it was
Dude,
so
you're
funny
my
too,
favorite, man.
Well, dude, they were like, "Oh my gosh, we got to do a thing on these cheating guns." I'm like,
Yeah.
everyone has them. I don't understand what you're saying. Like,
It was a crazy time period, but there was a lot going on at that time. It was wild.
Yeah, it was good.
Absolutely.
Dude, my favorite all time, Mike. You're definitely one of my all time favorite paintball players, just because your spirit for the game, dude, and you have a beautiful family. You're an amazing dude, and we're stoked that you're able to come on here and share all these badass stories with us, bro.
Oh man, it was awesome. It was fun. I definitely. Shane called me like minutes after he got off with you guys. He's like, dude, I just did this thing. It was awesome. Like, he goes,
that's so cool.
Yeah, he's like, I haven't talked shop in a lot. He goes, like the last time was he came out to one of the 10-mans and we played with Aftershock, and it was like he hadn't missed a beat, all the stuff. Yeah, and he was just like, it was so cool. But like we were playing side by side, having just the best time laughing and doing all the stuff. Wow. But yeah, he called me. He's like, dude, I haven't talked shop in a while. And he goes, it was awesome,
Hell
yeah. No idea how much that means to the two of us, dude. That's amazing.
Yeah. Wow, he was
for him to say that.
Yeah,
totally. Yeah, he sent me a text how stoked he was on that, and I was just like blown away. I was like, dude, we were stoked. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Tyler and I were like, to have both of you. Honestly, a lot of
Both
the guests
of you,
that we've been able to have on the show is like, it's cool. Pax, you and I haven't caught up like this in a long time, right?
No,
Tyler,
yeah,
same thing. Like we really get to hang out and have a good time, man. It's like the best thing that we've done in this whole quarantine thing. This is I love it, man. It's so much fun.
And that's the thing I missed too about even X-Ball versus like the 10-man was like, we didn't really ever get a chance to like hang out and talk. Like you did a little bit while you're getting geared up,
Sure,
hey Marcelo, what's up? What have you been doing? Da, da, da. Okay, see ya, bye. But like, like 10-man, you're sitting there waiting for a game for an hour, but then you're like, you start bullshitting, sitting down. Next thing you know, you open a cocktail and you start talking.
Yeah, they've got a great thing going on with the 10-man, dude. It's spectacular. We love that.
Yeah, I do too. It's awesome. Hopefully we'll able to get out to Iron City and we'll get out there. We'll have to have a drink together.
Totally, man. We can't wait to see you. And we need more paintball. That's the whole thing that we're just on a mission for paintball to get as much paintball played as possible. That's what it's all about.
Right. Yeah, man. I like it.
That's what it's all about.
Pax, man, this was fantastic, dude. We almost did 3 hours. Where what do you have coming up? Do you have anything in the works, or are you just staying low key?
So Friday I got duck hunting, and then Sunday I got duck hunting. And then no.
You're laying low. You're laying low. What are you doing? What are you guys doing for New Year's?
Nothing. We're gonna go over to a friend's house. That's about it. Just hang out, do some. Mom's in the background. She's like, I've been calling you.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
I know.
Dude, she's on the show.
I know. Nice. She's like, you're supposed to be getting over here.
Dude, I love her. Shout out to Mom.
No, it's good.
Shout out to Mom.
So
duck hunting. You're duck hunting.
Yeah. I really, something was funny is I even got a new dog for duck hunting.
There we go.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like it was like yesterday, like he's going to get the birds, and it's just it's like everything, right? You're going to the next thing, like, okay, well, how do we get better at this or that? Doing the same thing, you're like,
love that.
So yeah, it's fun. It's you guys like it too, because it's just like shooting a paintball gun. Like, you're leading them, you're doing all the same thing, and then you're like, it's cool. But
absolutely.
Yeah.
And then, dude, it's going to be a valuable, I'm telling you, like, thankfully I got some fishing. I got, not as much hunting background as you, but you got to know how to, provide for yourself. If something goes wrong, you got to get some food, it's not something that's far out. I don't think we got to, Yeah.
Well, and also too, it's just like elk. I mean, elk's like the best meat for you, hands down.
Yeah. Joe Rogan talks about it all the time.
I know his show's pretty cool. I watch. I listen to a few of the pods. They're
hell yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I love the Rogan podcast. I listen to them almost every day.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It was funny, that Meat Eater show, dude. Like some of the hunts they go on are just so miserable. I'm like, they're like, oh well, we went to that butter hunt the last time. This one's gonna be real. And I'm like, that hunt sucks.
Yeah.
I'll never go on that. That looks horrible. But
awesome.
No, you guys are both more welcome to come up anytime. We'll go, go do whatever.
You better believe it, dude. We're booking the tickets.
Hell yeah.
I know. Yeah. Come on up.
Come hang out.
Mike,
with
I don't know if you know, but Cece just bought a property in Montana. I think he's
Really?
looking to, he bought a property, turned it into a little rental property, and him and his girlfriend are going to be moving up. He's getting another property, and him and his girlfriend are going to be moving up there, I think.
There we
Oh,
go.
sweet.
Right
Awesome.
near what's the lake called? Whitefish? Does that sound familiar?
Yeah.
Whitefish. Yeah, it's right near there.
Oh, sweet.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
Nice.
hey, you got another teammate now for your 3-man events.
Oh, buddy, we're gonna be unstoppable. It was fun. Like the last team was one of the guys that he just plays once in a while, and then it was me and B, and that was our last 3-man team. It was awesome. Cool. We had a great time.
Yeah.
And then and then we'll just like pick up a random kid, and just go play, and
that's
fun,
it, man.
Awesome.
Yeah. Have fun, play the game. Hey, dude.
Right.
Hey, thank you so much for coming on the show. You're
an
icon and one of our best friends that we have in paintball. So the honor is all ours, brother. And you guys stay safe and have a happy New Year out there. All right.
Awesome, buddy. Well, hey, man, definitely though. You have to get back up here. We'll go fishing for sure.
Hell yeah.
Sounds good, Pax. Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year.
Dude.
See you guys.
Stay safe out there, brother. Peace.
Bye.
PTG fam, thank you guys so much for tuning in with us. As always, we are so incredibly grateful for you guys tuning in and going on these awesome adventures with us. We're so thankful and grateful to be able to share these stories of legends of the game. And I feel like through the holiday season, we had two of the best people on with Shane Pastana and now Mike Paxson. We hope you guys had an awesome Christmas. We hope that you have an awesome New Year's, and do it safely. Spend time with loved ones. Whether you have to do it remote, virtually, however you can, make sure that you guys are just trying to put a smile on each other's faces. Again, be as safe as possible, but take this time to reflect on all of the good things that 2020 brought. I know there was a lot of hardship out there, a lot of negatives, and a lot of reasons to look at 2020 as a year to forget, but in many ways it's going to be a year to remember. We can move forward. We're going to move into 2021 with an absolute bang, and let's all plan on dominating 2021. That's the goal. That's the plan. Here at PTG, I know we're going to be looking to do the exact same, and we will see you next year bright and early. We are very excited to get back to work and get the entire season going and just continue this movement of telling the paintball stories of all of the legends, the greats, and all of the unsung heroes as well. So all right, everybody, we will see you very soon. Thank you for tuning in. If you guys would like, you could head over to ptgpaintball.com, check out more of our shows, any merch if you would like, and our Patreon, stuff like that is on there. Great way to support the show. All right, everybody, see you soon.